very carefully.
It's all about life in the street. People are suffer, try survive in the heat. Bad mind them up to one, hygiene a do it. That's why enough of them, rifle a beat. Everybody want the ghost and want to drive in a jeep. Every day I'm at the ball when she buy in a read. Not even 5 days, you can't find for the week. Me no see no changes, the same cycle repeat. Give thanks cause life it's a sweet. But keep an eye open every time you go slave. Cause mankind jealous and them idle go rape. Them never yet plant and not try figure rape. Bigger heads where you fight for the sake. Now care about the future nor the child where you creep. Them a pray the fat Kyle with some meat. The system will slide where you fit.
In the streets so we born and grow. Only Jah know and nobody know.
When we talk about ghetto life, talk about ghetto life.
Everybody a priest, say them want it low. That's why them a speed and they pan the go.
Cause this a real ghetto life. This a real ghetto life. Yeah. Everybody just a pre-success. When me looking at the street, you me see enough stress. Them all a fight for who reach up next. Everybody want floss and a beat up chest. Juvenile in a them teen love sex. Them a breed the fast money, them no need subjects. And if you're unfortunate, please don't vex. Also the things said cause the streets don't rest.
In the streets so we born and grow. Only Jah know and nobody know.
When we talk about ghetto life, talk about ghetto life.
Everybody a priest, say them want it though. That's why them a speed and they pan the go.
Cause this a real ghetto life. This a real ghetto life. Yeah. It's all about life in the street. People are suffer, try survive in the heat. Bad mind them up to one, hygiene a do it. That's why enough of them, rifle a beat. Everybody want the ghost and want to drive in a jeep. Every day I'm at the ball when she buy in a read. Not even 5 wheels, you can't find for the week. Me no see no changes, the same cycle repeat. Give thanks cause life it's a sweet. But keep an eye open every time you go slave. Cause mankind jealous and them idle go late. Them never yet plant and not try figure rape. Bigger heads where you fight for the sake. Now care about the future nor the child where you creep. Them a pray the fat Kyle with some meat. The system will slide where you fit.
In the streets so we born and grow. Only Jah know and nobody know.
When we talk about ghetto life, talk about ghetto life.
Everybody a priest, say them want it though. That's why them a speed and they pan the go.
Cause this a real ghetto life. This a real ghetto life. Yeah.
Very careful.
Tell the youth them to be strong. You can't tell the youth them to preach wrongs. While you try it on these lands, just remember every man is equal. Yeah, each one teach one. And our Father God, him are the only done. So make we ease and reason. Smoke trees, span the ends, all the deep meds. Take a look at life and don't close your eyes. Sometimes things happen and it's no surprise. And I just, so it go. It's the government, no have no heart, them no care about poor people. Yeah, bigger heads no love people again. Them more than little of them. We see friends now reason again. Vex through whistle a blame. What time it hurt me to see how the face deal with the eagle of them. Regular me see it a pain. Take a look at life and don't close your eyes. Sometimes things happen and it's no surprise. And I just, so it go. It's the government, no have no heart, them no care about poor people. Social commentary, drop the one your principle, you don't know the global will come and do it. Some people life every day it's stress. The high price from JPS, that topic is currently. Jah alone him a go help you. We don't need food, cause we no healthy. We are feel the pain, beg you protect we. In our life we have no envy. Take a look at life and don't close your eyes. Sometimes things happen and it's no surprise. And I just, so it go, so it go, so it go, so it go. It's a government, no have no heart, them no care about poor people.
Very carefully.
Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Speak of righteousness, they say we are praise. Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Speak of righteousness, they say we are praise. Brought us from the motherland in bondage and chains. Bury our culture and change our names. They claim we're free, yet we are in pain. As long as there's life, there's a lot to gain. Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Speak of righteousness, they say we are praise. Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Righteousness, they say we are praise. When God spoke his words, they said he was deranged. Marley sung his songs, they said the same. Malcolm X and Martin Luther fought relentlessly so we could be better. Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Righteousness, they say we are praise. Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Speak of righteousness, they say we are praise. Brought us from the motherland in bondage and chains. Bury our culture and change our names. They claim we're free, yet we are in pain. As long as there's life, there's a lot to gain. Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Speak of righteousness, they say we are praise. Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Speak of righteousness, they say we are praise.
Hey, peace. Can y'all hear me out there? Can Microphone check 1 2 1 2. Y'all hearing me in the house? That's what's up. Bless yourselves. What's good, Sosa? Bless yourself, young brother. Good to see you. Um, yeah, you don't know. We back at it again. One more again. Feel like running my mouth again today. I want to finish up this was going yes. Yesterday we were talking about Pan-Africanism, the African Union, and just the whole reparations, the whole African Union reparations movement called the Global Reparations Fund. And we did a comparison of the Pan-African reparations movement with the FBA reparations movement, just to kind of give ourselves an idea of the pros and cons of each and how they kind of, compare to each other. Yeah, what else? What else did we do? Sosa, can you hear me out there? Can you hear me out there? You may have already left. Bummer for you. You've lost out if that's the case. So today I'm just gonna continue on the lesson about the Pan-Africanism, the African Union, and continue with the whole FBA discussion along with that, comparing their reparations movements, seeing which one is more of a seeing which one is more of a viable reparations program, and and just taking it from there and see where it takes us, what ideas it brings to our minds, and just pretty much going from there. So continuing that conversation, peace to you, King David. Blessings, good to see you. So we're going to continue the conversation today. The question is, first question I asked is the African Union a Pan-African organization? Yesterday's show, we spoke about Pan-Africanism, and one of the questions we were trying to answer was, what is something concrete that Pan-Africanism can show that it has delivered for Black Americans, and just really any Black person in the diaspora? Was a Pan-African organization, and that's kind of what I want to look into more today. Is that a fair estimation, or is fair classification of the AU and called a Pan-African group? That's where we are right now. That's where we are right now. So we're going to chat GPT it. It said the first question is the African Union a Pan-African organization? And chat GPT says yes. The African Union is widely considered a Pan-African organization, though with an important distinction between its political structure, the Pan-Africanist ideology it draws from. What the Pan-African Union is. So it is a Pan-African organization, but with clear distinctions, I guess, or maybe not so clear. I think there's a political distinction with the two. But regardless, it's still a Pan-African. It does follow Pan-African ideology. What the African Union is. The AU was established in 2002, earlier organization. Are those a part of the African Union or are exempt? I'm going out. I'm going out. That's craziness. Hopefully I'll be hearing me better. How am I sounding? So let me repeat myself since it's possible I wasn't being heard properly. ChatGPT says yes, the African Union is widely considered a Pan-African organization, though with an important distinction between its political structure and the Pan-Africanist ideology it draws from. What the African Union is. The AU was established in 2002, replacing the earlier Organization of African Unity, OAU 1963 to 1999. It is a continental union of 55 African states headquartered in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Its goals include unity and solidarity among African nations. And I think that's the underlying foundational idea behind Pan-Africanism is unity and solidarity among African nations. So in that sense, the AU is indeed a Pan-African organization. Another goal, political and economic integration of the continent. Again, that too, in my estimation, is a Pan-African goal. Peace, security, and human rights is the next goal. And the last one, promoting African development through collective action. I don't see where any of those wouldn't be accepted as Pan-African goals, from whether we're talking about the AU or just local Pan-African groups here in the diaspora. I think even Dr. Umar would agree with those points and say, yes, those are Pan-African ideologies or Pan-African goals. The Pan-African roots, now it gets a little into the Pan-African roots. It says the OAU, the AU's predecessor, was explicitly inspired by Pan-Africanism, the belief that all African peoples, both on the continent and in the diaspora, share a common destiny and should unite politically, culturally, and economically. Blessings to you, Ola. I see you in the back. I'm going to just finish this short section and then let you in. So if you could just give me a couple of minutes. Thank you for coming up. Just give me a couple of minutes. Let me finish up this section, and then I'll absolutely let you in. Again, the OAU, the AU's predecessor, was explicitly inspired by Pan-Africanism, the belief that all African peoples, both on the continent and in the diaspora, share a common destiny and should unite politically, culturally, and economically. Pan-Africanist leaders like Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana, Haile Selassie of Ethiopia, and Julius Nyerere, I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong, Julius Nyerere, that may even be more wrong, of Tanzania were founding figures. The AU continues in this tradition by emphasizing African unity and rejecting neocolonial domination, maintaining ties with the African diaspora, which the AU recognizes as the 6th region of Africa. So we are the 6th region of Africa. as far as the AU is concerned, which is kind of nice. It's kind of nice, I think. And they also host initiatives like the Global Reparations Fund, which was started in 2023 with CARICOM, the Caribbean community. Yeah. Then it goes in a little bit, then it says it is not pure Pan-Africanism. It says the AU is a state-based intergovernmental body, meaning its members are nation states, not all people of African descent worldwide. Its members are the countries. Countries are members of the AU, not individual people. True Pan-Africanism as an ideology often envisions deeper political unification, even a United States of Africa. You know, and I'm drawn closer to Pan-Africanism and the AU in this sense, that they want to name themselves after America, the United States of Africa. I mean, you gotta love it, right? I know I do. I appreciate it. I think that's a good move. And, you know, more than just taking their name, they may also want to consider taking the Constitution, the ideas behind the Constitution, because hopefully, you know, my view of Pan-Africanism is that they lean, you know, communistic in a way. But again, that's just my view of Pan-Africanism. And it may be unfair to say so, but the reason I'm saying so is because I know, given the Pan-Africanists that I know and that I encounter, they're all anti-capitalist, right? They're all anti-capitalism, which is why I'm giving them the communist label. And I don't think that's unfair. They get at least the socialist label, you know? I don't think that's an unfair classification to put them into. But that is the United States of Africa. Now all they got to do is take on our Constitution, copy our Constitution, you know, allow people to have those freedoms that we enjoy here. And I think, you know, they'll have something worth celebrating. It says the AU, while symbolic of that vision, works more like the European Union, coordination, not full unification. So it's more like the European Union. Okay. The bottom line, says ChatGPT, the African Union is a Pan-African organization in structure and inspiration. It was created to fulfill the goals of Pan-African unity, solidarity, and collective progress. However, it operates within the practical limits of state sovereignty, so it doesn't fully embody the radical Pan-Africanist dream of a single African superstate. Yeah, yeah. So the same way that communism is a very left, extreme left. Hang on, y'all. I got to take this call. Give me a quick second. Let me take this call, man.
I want you to listen very, very carefully.
Tell the youth them for be strong. You can't tell the youth them for preach wrongs. While you try it on these lands, just remember every man is equal. Yeah, each one teach one.
Yeah, yeah. Once again, where was I? Where was I? As long as they don't take on communism. Yeah, I was saying that I think where communism is extreme left of the left, You know, I had something I was saying, but that's how it goes, man. Easy come, easy go. You know what I'm saying? It'll come back to me. It'll come back to me. Oh yeah, there it is right there. It doesn't fully embody the radical Pan-Africanist dream of a single African super state. So where communism envisions the single no government state, you know, it's the same way that radical Pan-Africanism sees this single African super state. But the AU and in their framing of Pan-Africanism is where states remain sovereign, and it's more like cooperation in that respect, which is respectable. All right, so I have a guest. So let me let Ola in. Ola, blessings to you, Ola. You can unmute yourself.
Hey, what's up,
Blessings to you. Hang on, Ola, before you say anything, to everyone in the chat, please, admission price is clicking that like button. That's the admission to get up in her. So please, if you can kindly click that like button, that would be awesome. If you're new to the channel, there's another one that says subscribe. If you hit that one is a good place to be as well, subscribed. And then the notification button works wonders as well. It lets you know when I go live and when I put out new videos. So, you know, hit everything, man, hit everything. But start with hitting that like button so we get more people up in here. That would be amazing. That would be amazing. Yeah, what's happening, Ola? Good to see you again.
That's good, bro. You hearing me? Hello?
Yeah, are you speaking? I can hardly hear you.
Okay, you hear me now?
Hang on, let me see if it's on my end.
Do you hear me?
Then I would like you to say something else again.
Do you hear me?
There you go.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I'm hearing you nice and clear now. What's happening?
Cool, man. No shaking.
Yeah, what's on your mind?
The Pan-Africanism that is coming from United States, I think that is not type of Pan-Africanism Africa want. Because you were mentioning a lot of intellectuals, Pan-Africanism in Africa, people like the Julius Nyerere, Kende Kaunda of Zambia, and other Africans, Pan-Africanism that fought the apartheid of South Africa. You see, this Pan-Africanism guys or past people you see, these are intellectual developers. These people built their country right from the time of independence to today, what Tanzania, Nigeria, Zambia today. The Pan-Africanists you see that is coming from the United States, they all look like madmen. These are mad people. These are crazy people. Whoever take Dr. Omar very seriously, he's not a Pan-African, he's a madman.
Okay, so before we say there are madmen, let's talk about if we are going to talk about the Pan-Africanism, what are those Pan-Africanist ideas coming out of America that makes them madmen? Because it has to be their ideas that makes them mad. So can you talk about their ideas and then, you know, compare it to the sane men's idea of Pan-Africanism, if you will. So what ideas make them so mad?
Their ideas is a backward ideas. Their ideas actually no meaning.
Like which one, for example?
Hold on. All what they want to sell is black power. Apart from the black power of a thing, they don't have no other substances. If you check the people that you measure here, people like the Marcus Garvey or people, those old Africans are ones that came back and doesn't want anything colonialism anymore. these people have ideas how to develop society, a functioning society. That's why today, what they put down, that's what's still running out to today. Yeah, here or there might be corruption there, but that idea of you can rule yourself and everything is still what we have, jobs and everything. But the ones you see today, this modern time that are coming, they look like more like people that are schizophrenic. You know, you cannot take them seriously. You don't know who they are. They can flip at any time. You understand me? And
Yeah, I'm still struggling though, Ola, with really pinpointing, because you said Black Power. And, you know, I think that what I've read so far in terms of Pan-Africanism and what they envision in terms of a unified Africa and everything else, I think if that can be described as Black Power, if you will. So whether it's madness or not depends on how they define the Black Power that they're talking about. So if you can just go a little more in depth in terms of what you think they mean by Black Power and why it's madness, because I'm still not hearing the madness that you're proclaiming it to be.
Hold on. These people you're saying who call themselves today Pan-Africanism, they try to market themselves by tourism, by holding symposium, making money through that, and other things. Apart from that, right? Let's assume I take the tall man for example. He is always going to places whereby they will put him on the stage. He make money out of those people. They started, you know, even so situation will get worse because it's repeating things a lot of times nowadays. You know, it's always about the money. It's not about about the idea, what they say they want to push. It's good to make money, but why don't you make money aside somewhere that try to develop what you the American Pan-Africanism cannot be trusted. Sorry, cannot be trusted. You can't trust people.
I'm still not hearing an idea though. You've spoken about Black Power. You said the leaders. You mentioned a couple of leaders that may be untrustworthy, but you haven't yet gone into an Pan-African American idea that you disagree with.
The Pan-African that's coming from United States doesn't have no ideas.
Okay. They have no ideas. Okay.
Because anything that they have no ideas, you cannot define it. Rather, they're all making noise. Some of them become FBA, some of them become something else. Those that push for Pan-Africanism never change course.
Well, I don't know. I think FBA is absolutely, they don't identify as Pan-Africanist. And Pan-Africanists do not Pan-Africanists, hold on, Ola. Yeah. FBA do not identify as Pan-Africanists, and Pan-Africanists don't claim FBA.
Yes.
So to say that FBA comes out of the American Pan-Africanism, I think that's kind of a miscalculation.
Yes. If you check the founder of FBA, if you go back inside 2015, 2012, 2013 to 2010, he was singing about Pan-Africanism, written a book about African Moors, going to breakfast, shop the go, whatever. Try to pray. It's all about money. He was looking for money. When they start banning him, he can't travel to most of these countries. The money is not.
I don't think that makes him a Pan-African today, though. I think, you know, I know he may have, I know that may be true about his past, but if you listen to him today, and since he started the FBA stuff, he's spoken down on Pan-Africanism. And, you know, people are allowed to change their views. So even if he was Pan-African back in the day, right? You know, because there are Christians today who weren't Christians before, and if they claim to be a Christian today, I'm not going to say to them, well, 10 years ago, you weren't a Christian, so you're not a Christian today. Like, I'm not going to put that on them.
Yeah,
right?
But when you deal with other people, right, who do not flip like that in time, then nobody will take you seriously. The people that hold Pan-Africanism in Africa, I use that word Pan-Africanism in Africa, the Nyerere and all these guys, they never flip. They came together to deal with what is at hand, what's called the apartheid that was going on in South Africa and the colonialism that they like. Those people sacrificed, before them were their ancestors, sacrificed their lives to some of all these things. That's where they gathered this strength from. It was never really that they just started up Pan-Africanism. If you check Zambia, Tanzania, Ghana, some of them was being actually dealt with, you know, not them directly, but their ancestors. So we don't flip as African. I cannot be one day become a son, that the other day become a mu. You understand? We don't know what what goes on in Africa. This FBA, the founder of FBA used to sing about Kumbaya, but not anymore. You understand me? Now he's not saying he's not even an African, and they were already in the United States. So it's all about the money, it's all about the grifting. And we don't do things like that. If you check now the TikTok, now it's about the Black Scottish. Why I'm using why you use this as a reference is not about the Black Scottish. They thought Black Scottish are people who are indigenous to Scotland. You understand me? Without I wanted the education of United States, and it become a very big laughter and shame, very big shame, that they start telling the people, oh, don't let Africa steal your shine, don't let Africa see people, they build nothing. They forget that these people are Caribbeans and African descendants, that immigrant. And some of these people call Black Scottish are the first generation of these parents who came Windrush to 1960 to 70s. So how can you deal with people that you know their educational standard is a very low one, like the Gatti one? People that don't know nothing. That's why people laugh at them now. This Black Scottish make the whole world, the black race in the whole world, say that the Black Americans in the United States, they are backward people and useless. Thank you very much.
All right.
Can I say something?
Hang on a second, gentlemen. I want to hang on. I'm going to get to Elijah. I hope I'm not saying your name wrong, Elijah.
Elijah.
You're breaking up. You're breaking up. I can hardly hear you, Elijah. You're breaking up badly.
Okay, hold on. Let me hear me now.
Yeah, hang on just 1 second, Corsi. I'll get to you. I can hear you still, Elijah, but you're still choppy, bro. You're still quite choppy. I tell you, once you mute out, I'm gonna go to Corsi and then I'll come back to you, okay?
Okay. Can you I think I was
you're still breaking up. Yeah, you're still breaking up badly. So you're still breaking up badly. So if you can mute out for me, that would be great.
Elijah, stole your network out, mate.
Corsi.
Yeah, what's up, man?
Blessings to you, sir. How are you today?
Blessings, man. Yeah, I was
What's going on?
To you guys. Yeah, I was just listening to you guys.
Where are you from, Corsi?
I'm from Ghana.
Ghana. Ola,
yeah.
Tell us again where you're from. Ola, you're from Nigeria, correct?
No, Ghana.
Ghana, you're both from Ghana. Okay, blessings.
No, I'm from Ghana. I don't know about Ola. Ola is
Ola's from
Nigeria.
Ghana.
No. If you hear the word Ola, any Ola person is from Nigeria.
Okay. I'm not going to question it.
Yeah.
Okay.
We know ourselves.
Yeah. Are you in Ghana right now, or are you in the States?
Yeah. I'm in Ghana right now.
Where exactly in Ghana are you?
I'm in the Volta region.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, that's in the mountains.
What's the weather like?
Oh, it's very cold at the moment.
Cold? Like how many degrees?
We're looking at 18 around this time. Yeah, around 18.
Okay. 18. Yeah, that's pretty cold.
Yeah.
That's pretty cold. That's pretty cold. So what's on your mind? Thanks for hitting that link. What's on your mind today?
Nah, it's just this FBA thing is just pissing me off.
What had you pissed off about it?
It's like it's another way of dividing us, isn't it? Like, so I don't really subscribe to it, to be honest. Yeah. I don't know why you would want to segregate yourself from a whole billions of people like in Africa. Why would you want to segregate instead of like actually joining and making us even bigger? You want to cut yourself away from us, you know?
Yeah, I
It's
hear what
just,
you're saying. I
it's
absolutely
like,
hear what you're saying.
okay, you see the European Americans, they know their ancestors have been in America for a long time, but you're not going to hear a European American saying, "Oh, I'm American," like, you know. So why is it that black people are now saying, "Oh, they're Native
No,
Americans," and
European Americans are more likely to say they're American than European American. It's very rare. I don't
but
think
they
I've
know
ever
where.
heard.
No, but the only thing is they know where they're from, though.
Sure, and I think what's
They know
happening
they're
with
from Europe. They
FBA
know
is
they're
that
not from. Yeah, yeah. Go on.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm listening.
they know where they're from, and the same way you know that you're from. Tell me where again in Ghana you're from?
Volta.
Volta. That must
Yeah.
be that like I think that there's something powerful about knowing exactly where you come from. That's I think there's something innately powerful about that knowing. It's an unconscious thing that I think has a lot of value that puts meaning and can give more
Yeah.
meaning to your life in a way. Um,
Oh yeah,
and I
yeah, yeah.
think that
I
what
understand. I
FBA is
understand
doing,
that
and I
part.
think that
Mhm.
that's what FBA is claiming when they're saying that they are American, is that because they
But
can't tell you. Let me just finish. They can tell you exactly where in America their ancestors come from. They can tell you exactly where. They can't tell you that
yeah.
about Africa. They just can't. So the same way you have a connection for for
Uh-huh.
for Ghana just from knowing
Uh-huh.
that's where you're from and that's where your
Uh-huh.
people are and have been, just
Uh-huh.
having that, that's what they
Uh-huh.
see, and that's what they, and the only place in their view, and possibly even in my view, the only place that they can get that is here in America. And I think that's what they're reaching for, and that's what they're trying to gain, is the same thing that you have, that security of knowing where you're from and having a connection to it. I think that's what they're doing, and I
Well,
think
I think
that's
you have
their
this.
goal.
I,
The way they're going
I think.
the way they're going, they're trying to achieve it. I may object to a lot of the ways they go about doing it, but I think that
Mhm.
their goal is noble to a degree. I think there's meaning to it, and I don't think that we should just kind of dismiss it as if they're
Oh
just bad
no, no, no,
kids.
no. It's not about dismissing it. Yeah, it's like an Irish American knows that they're Irish, right? There's Irish Americans that have spent generations in America. You get what I'm trying to say? But knowing the Irish person, knowing that I'm from Ireland, it gives them like, oh, you gotta know where you're from to know where you're going. So an Irish person in America, despite they've been there for over 300 years or whatever, they still know they're from Ireland. They know they're from Europe, Ireland. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, but
Even though
remember
it's
that
Irish.
Ireland, remember that the main thing you're saying is that they remember they're from Ireland. They have a connection to
So
Ireland that they
yeah,
don't
but
have
you have
to
a connection
Europe.
to
Let
Africa
me
as
just
well.
say this. Let me say this. No, Africa is not a country. Africa is a
Africa,
huge continent, right? And the same
Africa.
way Africa
Mm-hmm,
is not a country.
mm-hmm,
You can't compare someone from Ireland, an Irish person from Ireland, having a
yeah,
connection to his home country and say the same way an Irishman has a connection to Ireland, a black person in Africa should have a connection to Africa, because Africa is not a country. It's not
yeah,
the same thing. And the connection
yeah.
that the
But
Irish person, let me
Africa is
just
a
say this
landmass.
last thing. Let me just say this
Okay.
last thing.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
connection that the Irishman has to Ireland is totally
Mhm.
different from the connection he has to Europe. It's something totally different. If you ask him who he is, he's going to tell you he's Irish, right? Before he tells you he's
Okay.
a European. So it's just a little unfair to compare the two and say they should have the connection to Africa that this Irishman has to Ireland. It's just not fair, I don't think.
Oh, okay. So so okay, I get what I get what you're trying to say. You're trying to find an identity that's been missing, right? You feel like, right?
That's
Okay.
been missing, and I think that gives for us. I think if I was to ask you, if
Mhm.
knowing whether or not, if knowing that you're from, oh man, tell me one more time. I'm sorry. Volta,
Volta.
knowing that you're from Volta brings
Mhm.
meaning to your life. I think I can say that confidently because knowing where I'm from in Jamaica brings meaning to my life as well. And
Mm.
there's a connection that I have to where I'm from that I don't have to hear to even hear, you know. So, and I think that's what they are searching for. I think that feeling, that knowing, and that connection is very important for human development. I think it's quite
Yeah,
important. And I think
very important. Yeah.
yeah, and I think that's what they are seeking by claiming America because they're going all out in claiming America. They, you know, they want to say they've been here forever. They're trying to even cut off their connection to Africa altogether in some
Yeah.
degree. But I think that ultimately that's what they're searching for it, or at least that's what makes sense to me in terms of why they're going so hard for this. And I think that that's why. It's because it's that feeling that everyone wants to know where they're from and to have that connection. And I think they're trying to do that with America. And I don't necessarily knock them for that. I kind of can't knock them for that. Do I do I not appreciate the way they're going about it? Like I said, sure, absolutely. There's a lot of what they do. But when I think about what their ulterior motive is, or what their not ulterior, but what their ultimate motive is, you know, I can't really knock them like other people are knocking them.
But isn't America a place created by the Europeans, no?
Yes, America
So why
as a
would that?
country.
Why would that? Why would my black ass? If I was black, if I was black American, why would I compare? Why would I want to be part of that? Like that kind of sinful, like people that killed the native, like destroyed so many. There's so much blood on their hands. Like, why would I want to claim that? Like, I don't get it.
For the same reason that there's so much blood in Africa, but you still claim Africa. There's blood on your
There's no.
hands too.
Nah,
Listen,
I don't think
this
so.
sir, this listen.
We've never
There's blood.
invaded anybody. We've never invaded any
Use
people's
this. These are
lands.
the people. Listen, you're saying to them, why would they want to be in a white man's country that enslaved them and not home with the people that sold them into slavery? They don't
Mm.
really see a difference. And I don't blame them. Y'all ain't saints in Africa either. Y'all are the ones that sold them into slavery. And here you are wondering why they're not loving you like you want to be loved.
It's more complicated than that, you know. It's more
No, you
complicated than that.
got to realize, you have to realize that y'all are not innocents in this. You're absolutely not
There's
innocent in.
nowhere on this planet that everyone is innocent. You get what I'm trying to say? There's nowhere you can go that people will say, oh, we're innocent of this, we're innocent of that. Nobody's innocent. I know that. You understand? Even in Africa, there's tribalism. But I'm talking about like chaining people and taking them to a different land and then throwing some in the sea. And we Africans have we have heart. We can't do that. We can't do
Worse
that kind of
things have
stuff.
happened in Africa, bro.
Like what?
Worse
Like
things have
what? Like
happened.
what?
Like
Like
y'all
what?
Africans were sacrificing people to their gods. Africans
Who
were
told you that?
selling people into slavery.
Who told you
Africa,
that? Who,
what? That's a part of your history. That's a part
no,
of
no,
your
it's not.
history.
No,
Come on,
it's
man.
not.
Listen,
What
Africa
sacrificing
was,
people? Yeah.
yeah, sacrificing people. Have you heard of
What part of Africa is that?
say again?
What part of Africa? What part of Africa sacrifices their own people?
You don't know the Dahomey tribe? Never heard of the Dahomey
Yeah,
tribe?
that's my people. Yeah, that's my people. Yeah,
Well,
Dahomey.
your people, your
Yeah,
people, were your
yeah, that's my
people,
people.
your people,
That's my
your
tribe. That's
people,
my
the
tribe.
Dahomey, your people,
Yeah.
exactly
Mm-hmm.
your people, the Dahomey tribe,
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
sold more Africans Americans into the transatlantic trade than any other Africans. Your people. And here
Mm-hmm.
you are coming on here wondering why they want to disconnect from you.
Have you
When
heard of
your people, the people
Have
that
you heard of
you're
the
here
Fulani
claiming,
people? Have you heard of the Fulani people before?
I've heard of them. I'm not that familiar with them, but I've heard of them. But I am familiar with the
Okay.
Dahomey. The Dahomey sold
Okay.
more blacks into slavery than anyone else in Africa. So the Dahomey should be quite
Mm-hmm.
understanding of why FBA would not want to have anything to do with y'all, especially you, bro.
Yeah, but
You should be like, yeah,
wouldn't
yo,
that be
I
your loss though?
understand. What can I do to make you change? How can I be nice to make you change your mind? Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I said, when we started this, y'all are not innocent in this, especially you and your Dahomey tribe.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all are not innocent at all. And the FBA know
Mm-hmm.
this. Like the same way I said that kind of subconsciously, what they're looking for is that connection that everybody else has.
Belonging. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Also, subconsciously, what's keeping them away from y'all could be the fact that y'all sold them into slavery. That could be a part of it. And y'all got to remember,
Yeah.
and it seems as if, let me tell you this, Corsi, it seems as if y'all just want to forget about that. Y'all just kind of forget, y'all just want to wipe that totally out of history. Right? Because even when
Not
it comes to
really.
the topic of my show tonight is reparations, right? And the AU's global, I spoke yesterday about the African Union's Global Reparations Fund, where they're
Yeah.
asking the European countries that bought slaves from them to
Mm-hmm.
donate to a reparations fund, right? That they're now going to use to support African countries, Caribbean countries, and people in the diaspora everywhere. But you know
Mm-hmm.
who has not yet donated to that fund and who, in my view, has no plan to donate? African
Mm.
nations, y'all. You think you have no responsibility at all.
Well, the only thing we can't give you money because we don't have money. But all we can say is to come home and
They're
see
not
home.
even asking you
We
for
can
money.
say
If you
that,
listen to
but
them
we cannot.
closely, they're not even asking you for money. If you listen to them closely, all they're asking you for is a little bit of respect. That's all they're asking you for. And
My country is
when
full of
Ola finished, if you listen to
Americans.
Ola's last statement, Ola called them useless. And when you came in, it wasn't anything nice that you had to say to them either. They don't want your money. They're good. They don't really want your money. America takes care of them. America takes better care of them than Africa takes care of y'all. And you
Well,
want them, to
America is
have
a
more
welfare
love for
state.
Africa than for America.
America is a welfare state, so yeah, you can say that it's a welfare state.
Okay,
They have
but
money. Yeah,
America takes care of them.
yeah.
Africa
That's
should be a
because
welfare state.
America
Africa,
controls the
listen
money.
to me.
Yeah.
Africa has gotten so much aid from America that Africa is a welfare continent. So don't say America is a welfare state, buddy. Africa is a
No,
welfare continent.
America,
This is what I'm
Europe.
talking about when I'm like, imagine here I am telling you,
Mhm.
it's like all you do is try to find ways to disrespect Americans, especially
No,
Black
no, no, no.
Americans.
When I say welfare, I don't mean Black Americans. I mean like it's a welfare state, as in even white people there, Indians, whatever. If you don't have money, they'll look after you. So it's a welfare state. It's like Europe. If you're not working, they'll give you money. It's not just America.
Right,
You
right.
know what I mean?
You know, you
Yeah,
said that because
that's
I
what I
said
meant by
America
welfare
takes
state.
care. Right.
Yeah,
America takes better care of them than Africa takes care of y'all. But listen to me, the main point I'm making to you is all they want is some respect, bro. That's all they want. Some respect. And the reason you're going to show them respect, because I think the two go kind of hand in hand. When you show them respect, they kind of also look at it as you know what I'm saying, you acknowledge your role for what you did. But right now, you're doing neither. You're neither acknowledging your role in slavery, nor are you giving them any respect. And let me tell you, man, like that's, as much as they talk about white supremacy, that to them is worst. Because y'all are the ones pretending to be their brother, calling them brother, but you acknowledge, you won't acknowledge what your role, and you won't give them no respect.
Well, the evidence I see from in my country, I see slave castles, huge slave castles. There's places where they kept the slaves and the white people, how we fought them. My people even have a name for them. Like they call them the slide dog. They come all nice. You invite them to their home. Then before you know it, they're trying to take over your home. So we got names for them. I remember my mom used to tell me that in their grandparents, no, I mean like their great grandparents, they used to kill the white people and hang them on sticks so everyone can see them. You know what I'm saying? Those. It's not like we just sat there and just allowed them to do whatever they want. We fought, but we didn't have guns like they did, so they overpowered us and stole a lot of us. Because when we lose the war, they take most of our men and take them overseas. So it's not like we didn't fight or we just sat there. And there's a lot of history showing that a lot of Africans did fight them. Santua War, the Ashanti
I'm not
Empire, and the
denying that.
British War.
I'm not
You know,
denying that. I'm not denying that. I'm not
that's
denying
what I'm
that
saying.
Africans
It's
didn't
more
fight them to
complicated than
prevent.
just saying that. It's more complicated than just saying, "Oh, you sold us," and it's not that simple, you know. Like,
Sure, I can buy that. Hang on one second. Let me see. There's somebody else in the chat. Let me see if Elijah has a better connection now. Elijah,
Yes,
can you hear me, sir?
yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me clear?
I can hear you, but not clear at all.
I don't know why. So if I speak, you won't understand. You won't hear me.
Yeah, it's just like I didn't get what you just said at all. So, it would be kind of meaningless to even try to.
Okay, take my mic.
Yeah, you're gonna have to. We're gonna have to try again, Elijah. You may want. I'm not sure what to tell you, buddy. But let me go to KD real quick.
You can't hear me now. Or now?
No, you're still choppy. You're still breaking.
Wow.
Elijah, refresh your page.
Is that you now? Is that you still talking? Go ahead. Go ahead. Let's hear what's on your mind. Go ahead, Elijah. Elijah, you there? Go ahead. Okay, that may have been Corsi that I heard. Katie, thanks for coming up. What's on your mind, good brother?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thanks for having me on, man. I'm just listening to the conversation. And just want to add some context, a little bit of context. So, I heard a few things said. What was mentioned is I heard something about, a lot of Black Americans, wanted respect, things along those lines. And first of all, let me start here and just say that FBA is different than Black America. I don't think that FBA should be a representation of Black America. They're completely different. So when you speak of Black America, I'm not sure if you're talking about FBA and vice versa. But from what I can concur, well, from what I know, FBA controls most of the online presence of Black America. But they
And
don't.
I was specifically speaking of FBA.
Okay. All right. So a lot
Knowing and appreciating the difference, I was speaking about FBA.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. That's what I figured because FBA, like I just mentioned, like they're most of the online presence. you know, and they kind of portray themselves as the voice of Black America, but they're not. And I just want to mention, hit on a few different things. One, most of the FBA rhetoric that you see online, it's not anything regarding any kind of respect. As a matter of fact, it's the opposite. It's more like disrespect. It's propaganda that's kind of just thrown out there. And it's put in a way to kind of just disparage other people, other ethnicities, things along those lines. I don't hear anything in the rhetoric that even goes along the line of respect. Most of it is just disrespect. So that's the first thing I want to say. Second thing I want to say is in regards to slavery in Africa. One, chattel slavery and slavery in Africa are two completely different things. Chattel slavery is the barbarism that we know of here in North America. But in Africa, as a slave, you had rights, you had privileges. You weren't just treated as an animal. That wasn't the common practice in
There was
Africa.
good slavery.
Well, the name has a bad connotation now, but more so in Africa at that time, it was more so how we would probably think of it here
The
is
slaves were happy.
indentured servant would probably
The
be.
slaves were happy.
Well, slaves had rights. They didn't.
Slave
They
became
were
kings.
they happy?
When we
Slave
came
became
up,
kings.
when
Slaves
Slave
slaves,
became
became
kings
kings.
in Africa.
they were a part of family. Over here, as chattel slavery, you were cattle. You were inhuman coming over to North America as a slave. That's not the case in Africa. It was very different. Another thing that I want to mention as well is that a lot of the African, a lot of our descendants over here in North America actually participated in the slave trade. So just like the brother earlier said that it's very complicated, it is. So much so to the point where, like, if you point your finger at Africa and Africans, you're kind of pointing your finger directly at yourselves, because if we did a lot of our ancestry, we would probably find that a lot of our ancestry belongs to the tribes that participated in the slave trade. So it's kind of like a catch-22 situation when it comes to that, you know. And a lot of people, when they bring it up, they don't put it in full context. I kind of wanted to give it a little bit more context, you know what I mean? So I guess I'll kind of land my plane right there.
Yeah, and that's a great place to land the plane. I love that last point you just made. You know, that everyone's tribe was involved in the slave trade. And that, you know, when you're yelling at your slave seller, you may be yelling at yourself. So yeah, so you know, that's a great point. I'll take that into consideration. And but you know, I will also say that that doesn't mean that the sellers don't still lose responsibility for their role. Like, they still have a role, and their role is not diminished in any way. And you know, it just is what it is. I don't see how it
No, I mean, like
excuses them.
in Africa, like, you know, we had our fair share of problems over there. You know, a lot of the tribes are at war, and just like a lot of the tribes are at war in Europe and in Asia and all these different places in the world. So a lot of the
Yeah.
tribes are at war, and you know, a lot of us, you know, as a result of those wars, you know, took each other into slavery. You know, things along those lines. And like I mentioned, the slavery was different. It wasn't like, you know, how it was over here. You know, it's very different. That's why they call it chattel slavery over here. And over in Africa, what it was is the selling of it, you know, at the time, and I'm not justifying it, because at the end of the day, it's all bad. You know, we shouldn't, you know, I've come to the realization the other day that when it comes to white people, there's only black and there's only white. You know, there's white people and then everybody else is black. No matter what your ethnicity is, you're black. If you're not white, that's the realization I recently come to. But as we were at war at the time, it made sense to kind of get rid of your enemy, you know, without killing them, and you know, be done with it that way. Of course, there's no justifying it, and of course, in retrospect, it's horrible. But just like I mentioned too, like a lot of our ancestry goes back to, you know, if we trace it back, we'll find that a lot of us are in those tribes and participated, you know. So we're
Yeah,
looking.
well, you know, and if we do that, we'll also find that a lot of the Europeans are also in African Americans. You know, as certainly as they go back to Africa, they also go back to Europe. You know, a lot of them have European DNA in them as well. And if that's going to make them, if their African DNA is going to make them forgive the African, then their European DNA would have to make them forgive the European and see themselves in that as well.
Mm, mm.
But the Europeans will not see you as European, though. But Africans, when they look at you, they see themselves in it. That's the
I
difference.
mean, that depends on who you ask, really, because that's part of
Yeah,
the FBA complaint is that they're called akatas, and you know what I mean, and that y'all don't really see them as one of y'all. So you know that depends on who
I
you
don't
ask.
believe that. I don't believe. You know, last week, yeah, there was some children from Philadelphia that went to Ghana, right? They took a school trip to Ghana last week, yeah. The kids couldn't believe it. They just felt so free. They were so happy. I wish you can watch the video on YouTube. Some school trip. Just type in YouTube, you see it. Some children went to Ghana recently, just on a school trip. They didn't even want to come back.
Yeah, I think I've
You
seen
know,
that
like
same video. They were from Philadelphia, right? And they went to
yeah, from
Ghana.
Philadelphia, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in that same video.
The
Yeah.
thing is, all this is just talk, you know. When you get there yourself, no one will tell you this is home. I'm telling
Right.
you for a fact. When you step foot there, no one will tell you this is home because no one's gonna see you different. There's no way you go to Africa and someone's gonna think you're American until you start speaking.
So where does the term akata come from?
No one heard of this Akata thing you guys talk about. No one's heard of it in Africa, to be honest with you.
I remember American Dream. Ola broke that down. I remember listening to one of your shows.
Akata.
You talked about how it was a Yoruba word. Am I right about that, Ola? Because I've heard you before talk about the Akata word.
Akata. So what is Akata? What is Akata? What's that?
Bro, you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Akata is a Yoruba word. Will never be referred to Black Americans. Was being referred to the Nigerians who live in the United States who come with their kids. Because in the Yoruba culture, you have to be almost on your knee to greet your elders. And these kids were not used to that. So
Okay, I get it now. Okay, so it's a Nigerian referral to kids that are born outside, right? And they don't have the upbringing of African.
Their parents were bringing them back home, but they don't know how to prostrate to greet their elders.
Okay. So they refer to them as Akata. Okay.
Yeah, so that's not refer to them like these are like they don't teach them the culture. So they call them Akata. Depends what you mean by it. Akata can be like a brave man called leopard. You know, or you can use it as somebody as an animal that is not been domesticated, like not as it's like jungle cat.
Yeah, somebody.
So, but what happened? I don't know what happened in the United States. What flip it over there? They start saying that the Africans are calling them Akata. Most Nigerians doesn't know nothing about black. They haven't never met no Black American before where that word was being used. But what you start seeing in the internet, I understand, it'll be very difficult.
That's what I'm thinking. All this is propaganda, you know. All this
it'll be very difficult for bro, the hatred between the Africans and the Black Americans,
Not Black Americans.
against the
FBA.
Africans is high.
FBA. We gotta
No,
stop.
but you can call it FBA, whatever you want to call it, bro.
No, I'm saying
slowly
that
is not the so-called look. Let I think assume what they call now. They just discovered the Black Scottish, right? Then somebody came out from America and started Black Americans and said, "Oh, don't let the Africans. You people are different. You people are like us. We cousins. Don't let Africans say you people they build nothing or they want to steal your culture." But they did not go deep to understand. That's why I wonder what is the standard of education in the United States. That these so-called Black Scottish, these are a bunch of African kids and Caribbean kids who grew up.
Oh yeah, Scottish blacks. Yeah, it's mostly African and Caribbean kids. Yeah.
But listen, Ola, what I wanted to say is make that distinction who you're talking about. When you say Black Americans, Black
Oh yeah, I don't equate Black Americans to FBA though. I don't equate them.
Hold on, but they are the representative. Look,
No, they're not. They're not the representative. No, they're not.
Hold on.
They're not.
I speak as African, right? I speak as African, right? In a way, indirectly or directly, whatever I say, someone might say, well, that African dude, what's he saying? But what they did now become like a laughter with this Scottish blacks, what they call Scottish black or British black, started thinking, wow, what kind of education are they really having there? What do they know? What they really know?
There's an agenda going on.
It's not an agenda. It's just them who have a general hatred.
Hold on, really quick.
No, hang on a second, gentlemen. Hang on.
Let me tell you, FBA is a group that was founded by Tariq Nasheed. Tariq Nasheed trademarked this group, and he pretty much came up with all the rules surrounding the group. Who could be in it, who can't be in it.
Who is it? He said it's a Black American who came as Pan-African later. Look, if the more let us say I use the one that be pushed around to school, or those that they finish school, the more internet making noise. But to other African, because they generalize Africans a lot, right?
They do.
So we Africans have to generalize them too a lot. That they don't know more where they live in their street to talk of knowing something else. So you want to create that there are people, Black people who rule. Africans never believe there's any Black person indigenous to Europe, Black people indigenous to Europe. Neither they brought you by by the boat or you migrated for better life, right?
Yeah.
Then Africa already understand that these people
we were educated about that stuff.
But somebody say, oh, don't let the Africans steal your shine. Don't let the people they build nothing in Scotland. That you don't your culture, they'll steal your culture. British culture, all these Black British they talk about, these are a bunch of Africans or Caribbeans or Jamaicans, mostly Jamaicans, kids. Some of them, maybe their mother was born there.
What I'm trying to say is that there's Black Americans that are more Pan-African than even Africans. So that's why I don't want to compare FBA to Black Americans.
Forget about that Pan-African of that are coming from United States. Forget
hang
about
on
that.
A second. Let me ask you all a question. Hang on, gentlemen. Hold on, please. Let me ask you all a question because, the title of the show is the African Union. I think I put reparations in there. I should have. Pan-Africanism. So I'm going to ask a question for Ola and Elijah, and I just want a yes or no answer. A yes or no answer. And I'll ask you as well, KD. And Corsi, I'm going to ask everyone, do y'all support reparations for FBA? Ola, go first.
Yes.
Corsi. Can I answer?
Corsi.
Can I?
Yes or no, Corsi? KD, yes or no?
Yes.
Elijah, yes or no?
Can I
Yes.
answer?
Elijah, that was a yes?
I support reparations for America, but I don't support reparations for Africa.
Interesting, because that's the next question I was going to ask
You don't
y'all.
support reparations for
That's
Africa?
the next question I was going to ask y'all. So it sounds like none of you, I don't understand why all of y'all, why Ola is so mad at FBA, because, you know, FBA's main concern is with people that oppose their reparations. Those are the only people that they call tethers. So why are you so mad at them? And, you know, and you support their...
I wanted to get whatever they want to get that they deserve there, right? But unifying us, you understand me? Unifying us is not necessary. One, we're not on the same page. We're not the same level. These are Americans now. These are not Africans anymore. You understand me? They have a total culture that they have in the United States that is different from the African culture. So we can never see things in the same way. So we can never really believe in the same page. The culture is totally far different.
Right, but I'm still trying to understand what's your anger with them, because they would agree with everything you're saying, and they would appreciate that you support their reparations. So where does your anger come from?
Is the insult? Is the insult they try to portray sometimes by thinking Africa, look, that we live in a mud house on the trees.
That's FBA.
You understand me?
FBA.
And we don't dance with that kind of shit. You understand?
No, he's talking about FBA, KD.
Oh yeah,
he's talking about FBA.
Always insulting
I
Africans.
don't think, look. I don't separate FBA for Black Americans.
You
They
should.
all the same.
That's what I'm telling you. You should.
You understand me? The hatred you see,
I separate them.
The hatred you see now,
separate
the hatred you see now, they just come in now. The hatred that comes right from early 70s when Africans started going to schools over there. These children you see that hate Africans now, these are the children or the grandchildren of those ones that who started the hatred when the African students started coming over there. So when you see they just wake up, so I hate Africans, it becomes like hatred going on around, and for a very long time. We don't give a damn about King, what is his name again? Martin Luther King. We don't know about Martin Luther King, and we don't know nothing about Malcolm X. We might hear what they did, but we were having our own battles in our own hands. We have heroes that put.
We knew about Thomas Sankara. We know about Kwame Nkrumah. We know about we had our own people. You understand?
We have people put their necks on us for to have independence. So your own story can be your own story. Our own story is our own story.
Yeah.
Don't force your story to us or your whatever happened to you. What I mean, your predicament, what happened in the United States as a yardstick, as a general yardstick that we have to see your view. Don't make us to hate white people. You know, we have our own view about white people. That just all. We can never be unified.
What is that view?
You can be black, or you can be black, or whatever you want to call yourself to be. We can maybe have some kind of like, you know, if there's a trade, good. If there's no trade, also good. That's just all. But not to come together. We're far, far different.
But
so
all you know what? The reason why I'm saying we're different, yeah.
Ask them a few questions real quick. So because you're different, that means you can't come together? Is that what you're saying? Can't work together at all?
Look,
because everybody's different.
Look, we're different culturally. We're different in terms of nutritionist, food, clothes, thinking.
Everybody eats different food.
And everything. The closest we can be to anybody but be took away from Africa that have a traffic around that time. The Caribbeans, it would be the closest. Because
the closest I think it's Haiti.
Listen.
Hold on, wait a minute. Haiti and Jamaica.
Here's the thing.
Hang on, hold on. Whoa, hold on, gentlemen. Y'all cannot talk over each other. Y'all cannot talk over each other. So y'all gonna have to find a way to have a cordial conversation where when someone is talking, you either let them finish or You know what I mean? But y'all gonna have to figure out how to work it out other than just yelling at each other and talking over each other, please.
The
All right,
closest we could be,
Ola, finish up your thought, Ola. Finish
okay,
up your thought and let
the close-
Katie ask you a question.
the closest we can be that we can say, okay, they have the same taste of food, that if you eat their food, or the name they call their foods are the Caribbeans, right from Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaicans, St. Kitts, and all those territories you see around. But with the Americans, just forget it. We ain't the same. We don't share the same, nothing we share together, and we never will be the same. We're far more apart.
Yeah, but remember the Caribbeans, the white people didn't stay with them like they did in America, you know? You see the difference.
Also,
The Caribbeans, they managed to keep their race intact. Not a lot of Caribbeans are mixed like Americans, you know?
Also, you know, the thing about it is, we're all saying, like, because people are different, it means they can't work together. It's just like saying, okay, if you're Nigerian, you can't work with a Ghanaian. If you're Ghanaian, you can't work with a South African. If you're South African, you can't work. Like, listen, everybody's different. You can, if you look hard enough, you can find a bunch of differences in everybody. Skin color, eye color, hair color, whatever. We can go all the way down the list. But at the end of the day, even though we got differences, we got way more in common than we have differences, and those are just the facts.
Yeah, that's my point. If you go to Africa now, there's a lot of Americans there doing business,
right?
And they're happy there. So we can't work together. It's not like we can't
Ola,
work together.
Ola, let me ask you a question.
We can and we have on multiple occasions.
We can work together.
Hang on,
There's
gentlemen. Let me ask Ola a question. Ola, other than FBA, which other group do you feel that way about, where you just cannot work with them? Which is there, like the Irish, the Jewish people, Chinese? Like, which other people do you feel the way you feel about FBA?
Look, I can't work with, look, Africans generally can't work with them because they are level the way.
So the answer is none?
No, I don't have a problem with the Chinese, with the white, with the Jewish. And
so the answer is that you reserve this feeling of I cannot work with them just with FBA, with not with, I'm sorry, just with Black Americans, just with Black Americans. Because Ola, I want you to understand, like, the way, because they're making a distinction between FBA and Black Americans. And I think, I don't want to speak for KD, but I think the reason they're doing that is because there are Caribbean immigrants that live in America that consider themselves Black Americans. You know what I'm saying? Where when they do all of their statistics about Black Americans, like we're in there as well. You know what I'm saying? So when you say what you say about Black Americans and you refuse to make a distinction between FBA and Black Americans, and when you say you cannot work with Black Americans, like, you know, you're speaking about immigrants, Caribbean immigrants that consider themselves Black Americans, and it's possible that there are African immigrants that consider themselves Black Americans. So, but it's really strange to me that I'm going to say we are the only people that you reserve this special hate for, and I'm trying to figure out why.
Ola, can I ask Ola, can I ask you a question?
No, you can't ask him until he answers me. Are you kidding me? You hold your question. Remember your question. Like, I forget my questions too, but just try to remember it, bro. But he has to attempt to answer my question.
I'm getting old up here.
I just wanted to know, Ola, where the hate is coming from. Is it how they treat you over there? I don't know how they treat Africans there. That's what I'm asking.
Ola drop off?
Wow, Ola dropped off.
I think where Ola's coming from is Ola sees all the disrespectful content.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
FBA. There's a lot of it. There's a lot of disrespect.
There's a lot of it. A lot.
Sometimes I look at it and I get mad. I be like, this is some stupid. So I get where Ola coming from. Why he feels the way he feels. You know, the thing is that there are 50 million Black American people that are in this country, and the people that are online make up of 1/2 of 1% of the people that are in in America. So we got to stop with this generalization stuff that we always want to do. These sweeping generalizations for people, for entire ethnic groups, and then it's just it's not helpful. It makes zero sense, and it's just like
Entire
you don't
continent.
like when people do it to you. So why would you do
All
it
right,
to
hang on.
someone?
Give me 1 second, please, gentlemen. People in the chat, if y'all can kindly hit that like button, it would make my night. It would make your night. So if you could please hit that like button, it only takes you a half a second, and it'll, what I mean, get you more than a half a second of joy. So do it. Just do it. And then there's a subscribe button next to that one. You click that one too, and the notification bell. Just click all of those, please. You'll be a better person for it, I promise. Go ahead, gentlemen.
I think also too the thing to know is that a lot of these dudes online are agents, sellouts. Like that's why we really got to stop with the generalizations. This stuff is put out there on purpose by design. It's meant for these kinds. It's meant for this type of reaction to happen. So
Divide and conquer.
yeah, I mean, it's they're running the same play over and over and over again. We keep falling for the same play. It's just like, come on, bro. Like, it's obvious at this point. It's actually pretty corny, to watch this same thing develop over and over and over again. And it's like we have enough information now in 2025 where we can do just a little bit of research and find out that most of what we're hearing and seeing is just a bunch of BS. So
Yo,
Yeah,
peace to the
peace.
panel.
Hang on, Wall Street. Thanks for joining us, bro. It's a pleasure to see you once again.
Yes, sir.
What's on your mind?
I just wanted to say something real quick about what Ola said, right? Like, when someone makes a statement like that, you can clearly understand their stance and their basic sentiment, right? It would be the equivalent of me saying, I don't separate Nigerians from Boko Haram, right? You see how that works? Right? Most Nigerians don't want to be identified with kidnapping girls and schools and whatnot. But if I don't have a genuine energy towards, anything positive, right? If I'm looking for the fight, then the easiest way to spark that fight is say, yeah, I don't separate Nigerians from Boko Haram. They're all kidnapping little girls out there, right? You get that?
yeah.
So it definitely puts someone's, you let people talk long enough and you see where they stand.
Yeah, sometimes when I'm watching all this FBA stuff on YouTube and I see how Americans are living life in Africa, I'm just wondering, like, where's all this coming from? It just pisses me off.
FBA is a social club. Like, it's no different from Arsenal or the Boy Scouts, or it's something that a few people have decided to join, that the overwhelming majority of us, we're not signed up to that. They have 3 stars on their flag. The very first 2 stars are for a fantasy. It's for Harry Potter, right? The first star is for the native-born Black Americans who were native to the land, and the second star is for the Black explorers. Ivan Van Sertima. They came before Columbus, right? Then when you get to the third star, it's me. Oh yeah. And you guys that claim to be the descendants of Africa, American slaves, yeah, we'll throw you a star too. Respectfully, I don't need your star. I've got my own flag. It's red, black, and green. So yeah, it's extreme. If there's any empathy on both sides, I want to let the African brothers know, like, for me as a Black American, it is extremely disrespectful to me for me to be characterized as one of them. I am not FBA.
It sounds to me, Wall Street, that when I started reading. I don't know how long you've been watching the show, but I started by reading about the AU and whether it's a Pan-African group. And it said what separated that. It said it is Pan-African, but what separates them from I guess, grassroots Pan-Africanists is that they don't envision this one big Pan-African state. You know what I'm saying? And I'm wondering, given that you brought up you said your flag is the red, black, and green, because that's the Pan-African flag. I'm wondering if you hold on to the vision of a one unified
Not any longer.
African state.
Not any longer. You know, when I was
Okay.
young and I was raised as a Pan-African,
Africa
so
is too huge, though.
I
Africa is
wanted to
too
believe in
huge.
that. I
You know,
wanted
they're
to believe
working
in
on
that.
these things literally
But
right
then
now.
as I interacted with Africans in America, I realized like they're not even one group. Like technically there's really not even an African. There's the Igbo, there's the Hausa, there's the Tutsi, there's the Fulani, and depending on what side of the tribe you fall on, it might cost you your foot, right? So I started to realize Black Americans had this fantasy about being welcomed home and this one blackness, and nah, that's never gonna happen. If it's not happening over there already, what benefit would it be of ours to insert ourselves to create a unity that's not there? You know, so some people work together, and that is still Pan-Africanism. You know, any African groups, any groups of the diaspora working together, yes, that's a form of Pan-Africanism. But I don't have the typical American, it's all going to be all of us under one big shining sun. Nah.
Well, you know,
Corsi, by any chance,
un-
Oh,
Corsi, are you Corsi?
I
Hang on,
think
Corsi. By any chance, are you Pan-Africanist?
I was raised to be. I got a bit frustrated in recent years, but looking at everything going on now for me, if my choice is between being an FBA and a Pan-African, yeah, I'm absolutely a Pan-African.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, thanks. I was actually asking Corsi though.
Oh, my bad, my bad.
Corsi, are you a
oh yeah. What
Pan-Africanist?
am I a Pan-Africanist?
Yes.
Um, um,
If it takes you that long to answer,
I,
it's a no.
no. Do you know why? Do you know why it's not that simple?
Tell me.
Because traveling from Ghana to South Africa will take you more than a few days. You know what I'm saying? It's like the continent is so huge, yeah, that I don't think people understand how huge the continent is. It's like I just believe every every part of the continent you are work on improving that part of the continent, and eventually we all come together and sit on the table. But for now, I don't know like how it's gonna work to become a part. Because like
But it's
there's
working
too
now.
many
There is a,
cultures.
but there is an African Union that considers itself a Pan-Africanist, and I don't think
African
they
Union
have.
is not Af-
So,
it's not even
so I'm not
working.
talking.
African Union is not working. It's not
Okay.
working. Yeah, it's not working.
so. Would you say the AES isn't working either?
What's the
AES is
AES?
working
What's
perfect.
AES?
Chad just joined. You know, Chad just joined today or
Yeah,
yesterday.
yeah, I
Hold
heard
on,
they
Yeah,
man.
just
Hold
Chad
on.
just
We have
joined us.
people
Yeah.
listening. Hold on, y'all. What's the AES? Y'all can't just throw out acronyms and assume everybody knows what they are. What's AES, KD?
all right. So the AES is an acronym for the Alliance of Sahelian States,
Sahel Estate. Yeah. Yeah.
and pretty much what it is three African countries, Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali. They
Mali.
Oh,
Yeah.
came together as a bloc and formed a united front, military front, and they pretty much have these different agreements between each other. They even have a flag. So three countries came together and kind of created a united, like a block of countries together, united under one flag. It's pretty much what it is. And
And
and I've actually heard also, like the brother just said, Chad recently just joined this block. So now there are four countries that are now in the AES. And I also just heard that there's an East African bloc that just formed
block
between,
as well. Yeah,
yeah,
forming. Yeah.
Namibia, Botswana, and what's the other country? I forget the name of the other country. Maybe it's Zambia. I forget the name of the other country. But They recently just formed a bloc as well. So what's going on in Africa is a lot of people are realizing that there is power in unification. So when the brother mentions, hey, it's kind of a pipe dream, and when people say that, it's just like, I mean, maybe once upon a time, but that's becoming a reality right now. And also, too, I want to make this. I want to clarify.
Hold on. Before you do that, you did kind of cut him off, but so let's have Corsi finish his thought, and then we'll come back to you.
Excuse me,
Go ahead, Corsi.
Yeah, with AES, basically the everything on the land now belongs to they kicked out the French because the French were printing their money, and they were owning all the assets on the land, and so basically all these free countries came together and kicked out France. Yeah. And now they're trying to kill the leader of Burkina Faso, which is Ibrahim Traore. Yeah. They're trying to assassinate him, but it's not working because the African youth are awake now. You see? So now if they give money to this youth or betray him, they'll come and tell the guy, oh, they're trying to kill you, they gave me this amount, then they'll locate who the person is, and then they'll arrest them and kill them. So basically Africa is owning their own resources now. For instance, Ghana owns all the gold now. No one can sell gold in Ghana, nothing anymore. So now our currency, if we check our currency compared to the dollar, is becoming very close now. Since we nationalized all our assets. Yeah. So Africa is gradually changing. That's what I'm saying. We have to do it block by block because Africa is huge. You see, when we do it block by block, then we can all come together because we all have the same vision anyway. Because we know our enemy.
How big should a block be? How big should a block be?
Well, Chad is probably bigger than America. So, okay, let's say Chad, Niger, Mali. That's bigger than the whole of America and Canada, put all those places put together. These countries that the guy that spoke mentioned, they all came together. These are huge blocks of countries with a lot of assets, mineral assets. You understand? So it's like we go move slowly, but we'll get there. Trust me, we'll get there.
Indeed. KD, I didn't ask you yet. KD, are you a Pan-Africanist?
Yes, I'm a Pan-Africanist. I would consider myself a Pan-Africanist, 100%.
Yeah, and I know that I hope you can help me with this because I know the AU considers themselves Pan-Africanist, and so does the Sahel crew, right? The three countries, the Burkina Faso, the Mali people, they also are Pan-Africanists, but the AU doesn't support those Sahel states. Like, they actually work to try and overthrow that Sahel region. Destabilize. Thank you. That's a better word. So, which brand of Pan-African, it sounds as if you more support the Sahel state brand of Pan-Africanism. And if that's true, if you could just tell us if that's true and why. And if you can explain the difference between the two brands of Pan-Africanism, that would be amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll do my best with it. It's a rather complicated topic, but I'll do my best to try to explain it. So first, I want to start with saying just Pan-Africanism is really just about Africans, Black people just kind of working together. It's really what the general idea of it. People like to overcomplicate it and make it seem like it's some sort of, I don't know, fairy world or something. I don't know. It's just really about Black people working together,
So yes or no? Are you a Pan-Africanist?
Oh yeah, 100%. I'm a Pan-Africanist.
Okay. Of course. All right. Proceed.
All right. As far as the African Union is concerned, one thing we need to understand about the African Union is that it is completely funded and owned by European powers. Completely.
Yeah, that's what
not sovereign at all, right? It's pretty much like the United States working in Africa is literally what the African Union is. And what they do is they put a bunch of Black faces to run the organization, but they have no control over it, is what it is. They
Yeah.
literally give them their orders. The Sahel states, what they did is their goal is sovereignty, right? Which is pretty much the goal of most Pan-Africanists, right? Getting out of the thumb of imperial rule and colonization and things like that. So the
And
Sahel
getting under
state,
the thumb of Russia.
well, they're not under the thumb of Russia. They do partner with Russia for certain things, but
They
they're
need
not.
an ally. Everyone needs an ally.
But according to the French, they were just allies. Come on. They're just replacing the
No, no,
French
no.
with Russia.
Well,
No, you
according,
want an
you said
ally. You want
according
an
to who?
ally that doesn't want to take advantage of you. You
Yeah,
understand? It's
yeah.
different.
You know, and also
My
too,
brother, you guys
we
didn't
have to
listen.
understand.
When someone
We
is
got to
talking, you listen.
we got to understand where we're getting this information too from. Like, I mean, if CNN reports, oh yeah, the Sahel's under, they're under Russian rule now. I mean,
No, they're not. They're not.
that's
They're
fake
not under
news.
Russian rule.
Exactly. It's fake news because at the end of the day, they don't. The United States, the European powers over here don't mess with Russia, so they don't want to give Russia any kind of foothold or anything like that. And it's all just negative propaganda in order to kind of sully the name of the movement that they got
So
going
it's
on.
pure
I
Do
think
propaganda.
they have a security deal with Russia where where
Russia
they get
offered them
security? Hold
technology.
on. They get security from Russia and
Hmm.
Russia gets their minerals. Do they have that type of deal with Russia?
Yes.
So
Yeah, but
Yes.
this.
Isn't that the same
so
deal they had with the French?
No.
no, it's
No,
Where
not.
no,
Russia,
no,
where
no,
Russia
no.
was mainly based around biometrics. So Russia gave them systems that would kind of bolster their own security of themselves. And Russia is kind of just playing the game where they just want to oppose, anything Western. So this is one of those few chances, where it seems like the true benefit for Russia really isn't even exploiting these three countries. So it is kind of a good deal that they pulled together. I don't like most of those deals, but this one seems fairly amicable. And the other brother broke down, the AU and the AES very well. I just don't think he was willing to call it that. No, the AU would literally be the opposite of Pan-African. They're more establishment. They're more the
They're
same.
totally
You know
opposite.
what?
Yeah,
You know what? You
They're
know
more
right.
the
what? I will
same.
add to that and say that they're the African version of FBA.
The-
I know
I,
I'm gonna
I would
miss people
Yes,
all
I
over
was
the
gonna
exactly.
say
That's
Congressional
exactly.
Black
That's
Caucus.
exactly.
I was gonna give them more credit than that. I was gonna say they're the African version of the Congressional Black Caucus. They're there,
yeah,
they do a lot of talking, but they really don't get anything done. And when groups do come in that are a bit more progressive, their job is to destabilize.
right, right,
And
So
absolutely.
and
do
and
y'all
you know,
support?
Let me
Hold
say this
on.
too. Let me say this
Let me
too,
just.
really quick. Let me just say this too. Also, the Sahelian Alliance, they have more than just deals with just Russia. They also have deals with China. They have deals with Venezuela. They have deals with they're really clicked in with all of BRICS for the most part. So it's not even just Russia that they have these deals with, as if Russia is like their only trade partner.
and
They
and,
have
and
other trade partners as well.
do you know why a lot of Africans fuck with Russia? Because Russia helped a lot of Africans gain independence.
Yeah,
Russia armed a lot of African countries during our wars with the colonial powers. Russia was the one that was arming us to fight them. That's why South Africa fucks with Russia. That's why a lot of
Hang
African
on. Who's
countries
that?
fuck with
Who's that
Russia.
talking? Who's that speaking?
Corsi.
Corsi.
Yeah.
My children are around, bro. You can't just
Oh,
be cursing like that.
my bad. Sorry,
And
bro.
I'm sure, and there may be other children listening as well. I try to have
So,
a children friendly show.
sorry, my brother.
You know what I'm
Sorry, my
saying? I
brother.
don't want to run a show where I'm embarrassed to have my children around.
Sorry, my brother.
So yeah, I
Sorry, my brother.
appreciate you a
Yeah,
great deal.
sorry.
Go ahead and finish your thought.
Yeah, basically that's why they align with Russia, because Russia has always had our best interest, like from long time ago. You see, Russia never invaded us or colonized us, so we have this like love for Russia more than the West. Yeah.
Indeed, KD, you had something you wanted to add?
No, I mean, just like I was saying earlier, these Sahelian states, these African countries, they're brokering trade deals with multiple countries. Not even just Russia. Russia is just one of the countries. But a lot of people want to play it as if oh yeah, that Russia's taking over, but no, they got deals with Russia, China, Venezuela. I mean, the list goes on, and they're still forging diplomatic relations between new countries in order to broker new trade deals. So, Africa is waking up, just like the brother said. Things are changing, very, very fast. And
Very
I
fast.
think a
Yeah.
lot of this FBA stuff is really to distract a lot of Black America from what's really going on in the world.
Yeah, so let me ask, speaking of what's going on, let me ask y'all I want to stick to the topic. The AU, it's clear to me at this point that most of y'all, if not all of y'all up here with me, are more sympathetic to the AES version of Pan-Africanism than the AU. You seem to have more faith. You seem to not have a lot of faith in the African Union. Yesterday and today, I read about the global reparations fund that the AU is doing with CARICOM, and it's a global reparations. They're trying to get a global reparations fund together. They're targeting, the European countries that were involved in the slave trade, and that they call colonial powers. So I'm wondering, given that you may lack trust in the AU, how much do you support their reparation push, and how much do you trust it? Are y'all there? Did I drop out?
Well, can you repeat that again?
Do you trust the AU's reparations program? They have a global reparations fund. You don't trust them?
No, I don't trust AU. No, I don't trust AU.
Okay, so you support FBA's local claim for reparations, but you don't trust the AU's global reparations. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
KD, what about you?
I don't trust anything AU.
I'm sorry, hang on a second, Katie. Before you do anything, I just remembered Elijah is still trying to get in here. Let me see if we can hear Elijah. Elijah, say something.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me clear? No.
Yeah, man, we're hearing you good now.
Okay, that's good.
All right, sir. Yeah. Say whatever's on your mind.
Yeah, I think he doesn't understand what is the Pan-Africanism and people who were Pan-African. If in Africa, there are people I consider them Pan-Africanists. There are people in Africa I don't consider them real Pan-African. Even among our top leaders, if you go to Kwame Nkrumah, Sekou Touré, Modibo Keita, Nyerere, to me personally, I don't consider him that much. Why? I have my reason. Because Kwame Nkrumah wants to create a United States of Africa. But Nyerere was not for that. That's why we have Casablanca and Monrovia. The one they go for Monrovia, those are traitors, right? And this regional bloc, the reason why we have ECOWAS, Central Africa, SADC, all those things, those are traitors because they were influenced by West, CIA. Because they oppose Kwame Nkrumah's idea. Kwame Nkrumah wants to have a universal state, so that will give a power to Africa, so Africa can get whatever they need. But the one, even Nyerere confessed it. He said that when he went to Ghana, they had a conference there in the 60s, right? So to form a union government. So Nyerere said at that time, they were scared because they want to be a president in their country. If they have one president, those people, Nyerere and other people, that they will be a governor, and they don't want that. So they undermine Kwame Nkrumah. So when they independent, what happened? Ghana, Kwame Nkrumah, Guinea, Sekou Touré, and Mali, they form a union. It's like a federation plan. But all the Africans, they run away, they create their own thing. That's why they overthrow them. Nyerere, nobody overthrow him. Gawunda, they didn't overthrow him. Why? Because, he compromised. That's what I would say. I mean, the truth is painful, but that's the reality. There are
If you
black
don't
Americans.
compromise, they overthrow you.
Okay, but I'm just saying, a Pan-Africanism, if you believe in something, you believe in stick to it, right?
Yeah, but most of the true
My
Pan-Africans
brother,
were all
let me
assassinated.
let me finish you. I've been here for long. I don't disrupt. All right.
Yeah, yeah.
So
You've
we
been
have
here for long. You've been here for
long time.
long,
I don't
Elijah.
disrupt nobody. Yeah. So I
Elijah,
mean, this is the
let's.
thing.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
let you
So
speak for a little more, but you're gonna have to land the plane at some point, okay?
yes. Okay. A Pan-Africanism today, right? African Union. You were talking about Africa created a Pan-African payment system. African Union has a Pan-African Parliament. You can check this. That will help people because most of these Africans they don't even know about it because they have an African accent. They make themselves look like they know Africa. I mean, Africa, is diverse. My culture and all our culture, nothing similar. Nothing. So it's just like you and Black America, pretty much. Black America might even do something you might think, okay, it's African. They might not explain it to you well, but it's the same thing. Even within Africa. I'm West African, you West African, right? But if
Yeah.
you Yoruba, I think you are Yoruba, right? What is the difference between, what is the similarity between Yoruba and Mandingo person in Africa? Pretty much
Well, who are you
nothing.
referring to?
Ola, I think Ola is a Yoruba.
Oh, yeah. All is Yoruba, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, what is the similarity between me and him? Zero. If you are
Zero, yeah.
okay, if you are Santi, I'm a Mandingo. What is the similarity between me and you? Is it zero?
Zero, yeah.
Culturally. Sometimes people take it, maybe whatever FBA told them something, it's a sentiment, emotion. Let's get away from that. Even within Africa, we will say things to each other. Okay,
Well,
I don't go
land
to
the plane.
FBA platform.
Let's land that plane, Elijah.
All right. So I don't go to FBA platform for them to hurt me. I will never say generalize Black American in one box. No. So I think you
No.
Africans need to learn that. Thank you.
So Elijah, you can end by answering the question I asked. Do you support the African Union's reparation fund?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I'd like to
Katie, I
answer
think
that.
you were going to go next.
My bad.
Did you want to say anything else about that, Elijah? Did you want to add a little something? You want to tell us why you support it?
Okay. I believe for African Union, because it's already happening. For example, like African Union in those, Black America reparation and the Caribbean reparation, because they write down their proposal, they give it to African Union. Okay, African Union will back it up, and then they can take the case to what they call the international justice, and then United Nations to push the agenda. Africa has many uh, voting power, so that will help. So Black America also, for example, if they consider them as a six region, so they should be helped to have their own industry. Caribbeans now, even this Pan-African payment, now it's already in the Caribbean. All the Caribbeans and central bank and African banks, they all join together. They call it
They're
a
working
Pan-African
together,
payment system.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I
So,
wanted, my bad. I just wanted to respond to that from, the other side of the Atlantic. I definitely support the moves that they're making. I think it's a great thing. I don't support merging the two reparations argument. I think, the descendants of slaves in America, we have a very different argument. There's been a certain groundwork that's been laid in that argument, and we would kind of do ourselves a disservice to blend with any other movement in terms of reparation. But with that being said, right, and it may sound a bit coonish, right? Is that the coon is okay for the kids, right? That's not too crazy. I don't want to say any bad words, but I am almost at the point where I will never say we don't deserve it, but there's a portion of me that feels like it's holding us back from doing the real work. The
That's
conversation
my
then
point.
becomes, when we get reparations, we can do this, we can do that. I'm of the mindset we could do it right now. We're just not doing it. So I'm almost from a psychological level ready to say, all right, leave it on the table and let's get to work. Like what will we what's the plan if we get a hard no? No, there will never be reparations. Then does that mean that any empowerment stops? So I'll always feel like we deserve it. But I feel like at this point, it's a conversation that gives us an excuse not to accomplish things.
So, Wall Street. Let me ask you a question. I think that, well, it's a fact that, it's likely that you have more ancestors that were enslaved by the British than by Americans, right? Because the British held slaves for a longer time period than America did. So I'm wondering, why don't you feel like, why are you only asking reparations from America, but you don't feel it's necessary to to tether on to this global reparations bill, which you also have a
I see
claim
what you
to,
did there.
because you saw what I did. But why don't you feel, because it can be two separate claims. It's, I heard you say you feel like, being a part of the global um movement would take away from yours. But I'm wondering why you think that, when it can be two separate cases. You can have your local case with America, but you also, I think, if there's going to be a global case that's going against Britain, why wouldn't Black Americans have a right to be a part of that movement as well? And why don't they have a claim to that? And y'all may have a bigger pot in there, because, like I said, you have more ancestors that were enslaved by the British than by America. You know what I'm saying? So I'm
No,
wondering why you can't separate the two and see your claim in both.
I would be totally behind pursuing international reparations after we first accomplish it here. I think to add another, defendant in the case would then allow America to shift the blame and say, well, no, it was more there for. I think if Black
No, it's not
Americans just,
it's not another defendant in the case. It's a totally different case.
well, but then it becomes an international issue. So our involvement in that kind of creates precedent for America to now argue, well, it's not even all our fault, right? I'm saying I think it's best for us because of the groundwork we've already laid and because of how strong that case is to simply focus on reparations here with the US federal government. And when you look at America's coffers, I mean, you want to sue the guy that has the most money, right? So I just kind of think, one, because of the groundwork that's been laid, it would do us a disservice to move away from that. And two, I think involving other parties in the argument at this stage for Black Americans would do us a disservice because it would allow America to shift the blame.
Indeed, I respect that answer.
And
But
you
what do
run
you mean?
a
What?
very, very respectable panel. I just wanted to throw that out there really quick. Salute to you. You moderate well, and I'm happy to be here.
Blessings. Happy you're
I
here.
just wanted to ask, what do you mean by American? Because the British, what is American? Like, I don't understand what you mean by reparation from American. Like, I don't understand what you mean by that.
George
Yeah, well,
Washington.
America came into existence in 1776, after the Revolutionary War. Before
Right.
that war, we were British colonies. We were run by Britain. And um, since, when they talk about the 1526 slavery, that was the Spanish and Portuguese, and even the 1619, that wasn't the country of America. That wasn't America involved in any of that. That was all those other countries that the global fund is going against:
Right.
Britain,
Portu-
Spain, France,
Portugal.
Portugal, right? So So, you know, that's what I mean when I say before America came into existence in 1776. So, you know, that's, in my view, that's the
But
responsibility that America holds. Everything
wasn't
before
that
that is.
what wasn't it the Europeans that formed America? Or like was it just I thought it was French and other European countries that formed America, no?
Well, yeah, it was the same settlers that
French,
came here
Spanish.
that started the war. Yeah, but once you they created a new country. So this new
Okay.
country was created, and so it was just a different country that had that the same way the nation of America had people enslaved before 1776. The nation of Britain and France and Spain had people enslaved on this land. You know what I'm saying? So when Britain was here on this land enslaving people, the American government shouldn't be responsible for that, because that wasn't the American government. The American government can only be held responsible for everything
After the
from
1700s.
from 1776 onward.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Which
Okay.
is why I'm saying FBA also have a claim with the global fund, because they too were enslaved by the Brits and the Portuguese and everyone else. And the global reparations fund makes room for them. They're waiting for them to, you know what I mean, accept being a part of it. But you
But
know,
now there's another side of that argument where many Black Americans feel like Africa also owes reparations as well,
oh,
right?
absolutely, man. I already went at that about with someone else. I think it was, I'm not sure who it was.
Yeah,
I
it
think
was
it
me.
was Ola.
It was me. Yeah.
It was who?
I think it was me. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, it may have been, but yeah, we
Yeah.
expressed the view that
Right.
what I said was that Africa, if African countries and if the AU is really serious about this reparations fund, and if they want any of these European countries to take them seriously, they have to be the first countries to donate to that fund. Like, if they're not willing to accept their responsibility, then no European country should.
I
And if they
agree.
really want to show their sincerity, they have to be the first ones to donate to that fund. And if they're not willing to do that, I don't see where this fund is going to be meaningful or or how it's going to work in any way. And
I
I wouldn't
also
blame anyone for not
Okay, so
participating.
why is Africa paying? Why should Africa pay reparations again? Sorry.
because they were
You
involved in the system of slavery. So
know, we're
if
Yeah,
the
but if
sellers,
someone
bro.
comes, if someone comes to your land, kills a bunch of your people, takes some of them, and then you have to pay reparation for that.
It was a slave trade, sir. It wasn't just
You,
they didn't just come and steal y'all. It was called. It's not. It wasn't
yes, they
called.
did.
It's not called the Atlantic slave
what
steal. It's
what
not.
was the
Listen, man.
movie?
Hold on. It's not
Yes, they
called the
did.
Atlantic slave steal. It's called the Atlantic slave trade.
Trade. Correct.
Wait, wait,
Y'all
No,
y'all got.
it was trade. It
hey,
was trade
can I jump in there?
amongst the Europeans. Amongst the Europeans, it was trade, but in Africa, it wasn't a trade.
Yeah,
It
See,
was
I like
this is what I'm talking about,
I
man.
like to
Y'all got to
like to
take
jump in
your
for a second.
responsibility.
Hey, can I
Who's
jump in for a
speaking?
second?
Who's speaking?
My name is Terrence Bailey. How you doing, brother?
Terrence, blessings to you. I was gonna get to you
Peace, family.
right away. I was gonna get to you as soon as we ended this little spiel, but good to have you on the panel, Terrence. You seem to have something burning to say. So let's
Yeah,
hear it.
I don't want you to get past this. I got on for another reason, but I got in. I guess I got in right in the middle of this, and I wanted to say that there were some. I can't remember the African king's name, but he sent a letter to France, and saying that the white men from France that were on his land were reneging upon the deal and were actually kidnapping his people. I want to say it was Cameroon. I'm not sure. I want to say it was Cameroon. It said it was kidnapping his people. Now, as far as like the slave trade goes, it was a slave trade amongst Europeans, not so much a slave trade amongst Africans.
So what did he?
Now,
What did the? I'm sorry. Hang
what,
on, Terrence. Hang on. Let me ask you a
I
question.
want
So what did the king mean when he said they were reneging on the deal? What deal?
they
right.
were they were reneging on a deal where uh, uh, they were giving the Europeans prisoners of war, not citizens. These people were not citizens of their land. They were at war with other nations on a continent, African versus African. And the average slave that came here to the United States was a prisoner of war. And I take it one step further. I'm all for
So they
reparations.
shouldn't pay reparations for that?
No. Listen to me. I'm all for reparations, but the reparations thing is going to be a rabbit hole. It's going to be a cluster crap. I'm going to tell you why. During the slave trade, during slavery, there was a difference between a black man, aka Negro, and a Moor. Moors were taken into slavery as well, but it was illegal to take a Moor into slavery. If you want proof of that, look at the case that Abraham Lincoln tried before he was president in the state of Illinois, where he represented a black man who he passed off as a Moor in court, and they won a $600 judgment against a white man. Now, let's say that it's legal to enslave a Negro, right? So, and they said that the going rate right now for every person who's a victim of the translate slave trade is $323,000 per person. Then now, granted that now I assume that's for a person who was so-called quote unquote legally enslaved. Now, if you and quite naturally they're going to throw a bunch of red tape out there where you're going to have to prove your lineage in order to be able to collect this money. Now, if you prove that your family was illegally enslaved, that you are descendants of Moors, then what? Should I get the same amount of money as a person who is legally enslaved who gets the $323,000? I think not.
Yes.
You said yes, I should, or you said yes, I shouldn't?
I would say that.
No, I should not. My family was illegally enslaved. And that's going to be the stumbling block for this. Not to mention, they're going to require you to spend the money, which could cost thousands of dollars, to prove your lineage that you're actually a descendant of slaves.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, these countries are not solely on the hook for the money. You have Nations Bank, you have Georgetown University, you have all these private entities that were started and still Unilever colonized Nigeria. You know what I'm saying?
Terrence,
you have these,
Terrence, real quick, do you think Africa bears any responsibility for the slave trade?
I believe certain individuals. Not as a whole. I believe there were certain bad actors, but not as a whole. No. Investigation needs to be done to find out who are those perpetrators, who are those criminals to our people. It's not the whole place.
Then the question would be, how do you apply that to what is known? Like the Dahomey people, for instance. How would we hold those people in 2025,
accountable? What do they have? What do they have? They have nothing.
Yep.
They have nothing. Only thing that they can give you, only thing that they can give you is your rights and to restore the rights of your family, and that would be your citizenship.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the only thing they can give you.
That's something, ain't it?
Okay.
I mean, that's a big thing.
Okay, so they do have something to give. So hold on. So hang on before I go to someone else.
But that's something that Ghana's already offered, like of their own free will, right? So that can
not
be
just Ghana, Benin.
But I'm Nigerian,
Benin
and Nigeria's not offering me nothing. So what does that tell? What does it give me? Cameroon is offering me nothing. I'm part Cameroonian. They're offering me nothing.
I'm saying Nigeria can do exactly what Ghana did.
They can, but they're not. That's the point.
It wouldn't require, a reparations decision in order for these nations to say, we want to welcome you home. You don't
need reparation for that.
Right.
No, they don't.
So they do have something to offer.
And I also want to tie it back to domestically as well. Because
hang on, who's that?
I want to say this really, really quick, just 2 sentences.
Hang on a second, Elijah. Go ahead, Wall Street.
I just wanted to say that's why I don't even muddy the waters with the domestic argument, right? Because there's an argument that Native Americans participated in slavery, owned slaves. But what are we going to get from them outside of their casino. Like I think the things that would actually benefit us, it makes sense to focus on state and federal government. There's laws that were passed that were, we have a great argument on paper in America. It's not misunderstood. Most people, the only real arguments against reparations would be one, who has to pay it, right? Because on a state level, a lot of immigrants and other people say, hey, I never owned slaves. I had nothing to do with this. Why should I be responsible for reparations? And that's a great point. So I focus on what's sellable. My reparations argument or plan would be, a multi-year tax-free status where we literally pay our own reparations, right? If you're working, you know, and you can tie your family back to 18, whatever. That's another thing I always thought was stupid about the FBA argument. I'm not concerned with Kodak Black or someone, or a Haitian getting reparations. I think we should be more concerned about being able to prove that the descendants of Africans in America can prove their connection to slavery. That's going to be our real issue, more so than being worried about a tether getting a piece of our imaginary check. So yeah, it's a lot of complexities, but that's why I think it makes more sense just to strictly focus on the flaws, the faults of the federal and state governments in America for Black Americans.
We'll see.
Elijah, go ahead. Hang
Oh,
on.
I'm
Go ahead,
sorry. I'm
Elijah.
sorry. I'm sorry.
Elijah is muted.
Yes, I'm here. Okay, this is the thing. Africa is slavery. I mean, I don't think you can find an institution or like a business that involved in a slavery. Even the Dahomey people said, okay, it was a crisis within the inheritance among the kingdoms. What happened is a British ally himself with some another one. It's like what is happening in Chad today, right? Chad president, he has a brother. So his brother, I think they're from the same father. So France is with the Chad president, and then the other one, he tried to overthrow him. So a situation in Dahomey is like that. Back in the days, you see a brothers they fight over who will be a king. So British, what they do, they support one side to fight the other one. After they destroyed that each other, and then British took over, and then they put their puppet there to use him as to catch slaves. I mean, they already infiltrated them. In Africa, you cannot tell me like during slavery there was an institution, a open market. I never see it, where Europeans
Elijah,
don't control it. Yeah,
Elijah, we didn't
what's
even
that?
have countries. We didn't
Yeah,
even have
I know,
countries
I know,
during
I know,
slavery.
I know that. But okay, but hold on, let me learn. So, I mean, the slavery, yes, Africans involved, individual Africans, criminals. It's like if I'm in America, the criminal do something to me, how can I sue government for that? That'll be a case for you to prove. It's very difficult because you can't find an institution in Africa today that is a that is a result of enslavement of others.
Slavery, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, in America, the banking system, insurance, all those things. If FBA has to go after the America, they have to go after those banking because those banks were British. Those ships belong to Britain, and then the farmland, most of those farmlands, the one they initiated, those are British and the Spanish, Portuguese. So
And
that's
the
why
French.
African Union is going after those institutions. You have to go after the institution first. The businesses, the companies. So you sue those people, you get money from, and then you go to the federal in America because the federal government make a law to segregation, Jim Crows, all those things. So I mean that's how black people can supposed to do, so they can make more money. If
I
you
mean,
just go through,
for me, my reparation argument goes all the way probably to the end of the 60s, right? So, white people will say all the time, right? Like, well, you're not a slave or you were never a slave. You don't know a slave. Well, I do have parents that were affected by Jim Crow, right? I do know my grandparents who were put in certain situations. There were crimes that America committed against black people. Literally, 60s, 70s, you have the whole Lily White movement where white Republicans pushed us out of the Republican Party under like literally sending the red shirts into Wilmington, North Carolina, and just slaughtering the people. Like, so we have a well-documented history of crimes that were committed that, yes, America is responsible for. Now, are there other perpetrators that we could pursue? Yes, but I mean, I look at one, what would be the benefit, and two, what would be the chance of actually winning that argument? So that's why even in my approach to how reparations would be, divvied out, I have to believe we have to bring an argument to America that America would be able to live with. Like, okay, yeah, we'll give them that. So if they pay themselves through their tax dollars, right, that means they're employed. That means they're, the American that America wants us to be, right? And we can pay ourselves. So that stops the argument of, well, I had nothing to do with slavery. Why do I have to pay you? You don't. We'll pay ourselves. Just don't tax us.
We're paying ourselves anyway. If the money comes from the government, we all pay taxes. But you know what? I say this: when we had Obama, and then they were trying to
That was a good point. That was a good point.
And then they were trying to shove Kamala Harris down our throat. I was thinking, I told my wife, I said, it would be nice to be able to get a candidate or somebody in office who is actually one of us. She said, "What do you mean by that?" I said, "Someone who is a product of the American chattel slave system. Someone who has ancestors like ours. Someone whose parents went to school in segregation. Someone who was called the N-word a few times. I said, but you know what would be sad about that if we got that person and they drank the same Kool-Aid that Obama and Kamala and the rest of them was drinking. That if we got somebody like Clarence Thomas, who or somebody like OJ would say, "I ain't black, I'm OJ." I said now that would be heartbreaking. But I'm not voting for no more so-called African American who is for president or anything close to it, who is not a product of the American slave trade.
I get that point, but let me push back
I
on
don't
that.
get that point at all.
Let me
No,
push
well,
I
back
don't
on
get that
that
one.
on two levels. One, isn't there a value in playing defense, right? While the Democrats aren't gonna be progressive in terms of our needs and do great things for us, they're not the opposition. They're not who's in office now, who clearly doesn't have our interest in mind at all. There is a element of playing defense, right? Like, had we put Kamala in office, then we wouldn't have to be dealing with the loss of DEI. We wouldn't be dealing with, him talking about taking
what does
slavery out of
DEI
the
do for us?
Smithsonian.
I'm tired of hearing that point. What does DEI do for us?
DEI definitely benefited a number of black people. It
It
wasn't it
it
wasn't
benefited mostly
perfect.
white women.
Well, I'm saying it wasn't perfect, but it didn't hurt us. We did see some benefit from DEI.
How many laws are on the books for in the United States that are targeted right towards black people?
None.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When Kamala said, "I'm not doing it strictly for black people," she was thinking, if Obama didn't do it, why am I? Obama said this is not how America works when it comes to telling something right for black people. But then he turned around and he gave a bunch of money to the Native Americans saying and said the exact same thing that somebody said to him about black people.
Well, see,
He said it to them.
where I don't agree with that is the tail end of that comment she made.
Gentlemen, let me tell y'all. People come in here looking to hear about African Union, Pan-Africanism, and FBA. So I don't want to disappoint them. So let's wrap this up a little bit
Get
and
back to
try and
that.
get back onto what we're talking about, if y'all don't
Yeah,
mind.
yeah. I came on want to ask a question about saving Pan-Africanism because the current situation is going on right now with a certain individual. And I want to get y'all words of wisdom on that. That's why I came on.
What do you mean saving Pan-Africanism? I don't understand.
It's dying.
But there's a lot of people saying that Umar Johnson has put a great big stain on Pan-Africanism, and none of the
Oh my
Pan-African
God.
elders are pulling his coattail or reining him in, and whatever. So to the layman who's new to Pan-Africanism, then they're going to think that he is the oracle, the grand priest, the King Kong consciousness, or whatnot, and they see this drama. Now, if he's going to be toting the Pan-African flag, and then he's doing all this shenanigans, and then for the new people, they see him with this flag, and then he's doing all this crap. They're like, oh no, I'm not following him. And then they see one of the good brothers, one of y'all, coming with the same flag. They're going to look at the same. All they're going to remember is Umar's carrying that same flag. So when is somebody?
Terrence, I'm sorry. Are you a Pan-Africanist, Terrence?
I believe in the concept. Now, as far as when you ask me about my Pan-African, do I go to the events and this, that, other? No, I support.
Okay,
I work too much to go to the events.
Ideological
got you.
ideological wise, do you associate with Pan-Africanism?
Yes, I agree, and I agree that we all need to work together. I follow Julius Malemba. I know Dr. Garvey personally. I know Mr. Melvin Foote. I know personally. A lot of the people that I run with my nonprofit that actually support my nonprofit are Pan-Africanists. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't ask the question if I,
So why would you mention Umar Johnson then? You should know Umar Johnson is nothing to Pan-African then.
Right.
Yeah. If you mention all those names, you can't bring Umar Johnson in there.
Well, I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about those laymen's casuals.
Oh, okay.
There is a lot of propaganda to address, and honestly, it has a lot to do with just, like I mentioned, the propaganda, like just people doing videos associating Umar with Pan-Africanism. It's like it makes zero sense because Umar is also a school psychologist. Should we also are we putting a stain on being a school psychologist as well? Is that also a stain, right? Umar is also I believe he's a Philadelphian. Are we putting a stain on people from Philadelphia? Like, it's fake news, propaganda. It's a lot of just BS going on out there.
Well,
but I do agree that something should be done about it.
My opinion with the whole Umar thing is, for me, it becomes, as someone who did send a little funky $100 to Umar maybe like 7-8 years ago, right?
He said a funky $100.
I hear what I'm saying though. I feel like the people that complain about Umar are people that are watching my pocket. I don't hear people who donated complaining. One of the reasons why I don't complain is because he didn't have the school yet. People were saying years ago he was scamming, right? But he did run a national phone call where he would take, questions from women who had, at-risk youth and what they could do to keep them off Ritalin and this, that, and the third. I said, look, if my $100 goes to the phone bill for what he's doing now, I'm fine with that. So I never complained. I never felt scammed. I never felt like he stole from me. Like,
right.
So when I hear these arguments, in my opinion, the biggest stain on the Black community is we should have overfunded him. Mm-hmm. Where now the question is, why didn't you do it? Right? Until we do that, then you can't really criticize a guy that's struggling to, collect funds. And I'm not saying that he might not be a
lot
scammer.
Of people are doing now.
No, well, I got a confession. I got a confession to make, brother.
You're gonna come out the closet, is you?
I ain't in no closet. I'm in the living room, man. Hey, look, the brother the brother that he was calling an agent and saying that he got an extended family member or some bullshit or whatever. Excuse me, pardon my language. Yeah, BS or whatever. He was talking about me. I am the 5th generation nephew of Frederick Douglass who called out Umar on his live about being related to my family.
Get out of here!
I see that name barely.
Get out of here!
Yeah, I am the one who called him out and let everybody know we don't know that Negro. He's not related to us. And the elders said that if he was able to prove it, they would disown him because we know for a fact that he's scamming. That he's collected over $2 million, and he didn't have enough money to pay $30,000 in taxes and water bills and what have you. He's been tapping into stealing electricity. Electricity. He's been lying. He's been using that money on travel, going to spas in Japan. He paid $12,000 for a prostitute. If he's flying out females,
Man,
he got it. There's a lady who did a video and posted it 2 nights ago about this exploitation style documentary movie that Umar starred in playing himself, and he tried to screw every girl on the set.
And now he's offering $500 dates as a gigolo.
Yeah. I've had females call me and tell me that you're saying stuff that he's done, but I couldn't get them to come out publicly. 3 women have come out and said that they've contracted herpes from him.
Oh no!
No, man. Everything you've heard about that dude, and then one of his family members has spilled the beans on his upbringing, all the kind of stuff that he was actually abused and all the kind of stuff, and that he actually needs to be medicated. And that was his own family member. His nephews come out against him. His dad's come out against him. But
definitely against him. Yeah.
But then turned out that his father was beating the hell out of him when he was a kid, and he ran the boy out of the house butt naked. So. I mean, it's a whole lot of stuff going on with that, and that's why the people with the information are the ones that are asking the question: how much damage is this going to do to the movement? Because this stuff is going to eventually come out, and and all the top guys, the top guys that they got the most publicity: Umar, Polite, Nature Boy, all these guys are, and they're known for all the wrong reasons. And they all tie themselves back to Pan-Africanism and Pan-Africanism, and none of the elders in the movement are pulling anybody's coattails and saying, "Hey, you know what? We tried to talk to him. We can't. Okay, so now we got to distance ourselves from him. He's not bearing our flag. You know what I'm saying? Like, where are the elders at? And that's what I'm trying to figure out. Where's the leadership?
Who are the elders that we would respect that?
I have no clue. I'm asking the question.
I got you.
Well, Pan-Africanism is more of an ideology. It's not necessarily tied to a particular organization.
It needs structure, though, brother. It
One second, Katie. One second, Katie. Hate to cut you, but speaking of ideology, what an ideology if people in the chat would just hit that like button. Like, can y'all please hit that like button? That would be amazing. There's more people in here than likes. So if y'all could just hit that like button for me, that would be amazing.
I'm gonna have to go back.
All right. Go ahead, Katie.
No, I was just responding to the good brother, man. He said that, the Pan-African does need some structure. It does need some organization. It does. I agree. Now, there are some organizations that exist under the name, under the ideology of Pan-Africanism. But I think we do need more, the thing is that every time there's an organization that comes up out the woodwork, it's always some COINTELPRO and some sabotage that happens with the organization. So, but yeah, I mean, I just agree with what you're saying. Generally speaking, we do need some structure, some organization, and these are the conversations that we should be having. How do we organize? How do we get these things together? What do we need to do first? What do we need to concentrate on? Reparations is a conversation, but I don't think that should be our main focus. Like the brother Willie mentioned earlier, our focus need to be building institutions and setting up groundwork, and building up trade and things like that, So, I'll land there.
My thing is, there's no reason to reinvent the wheel. A lot of things that can be done have already been done by other organizations like the Panthers. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you got to find a model that already has a blueprint to it and follow it.
Panthers were infiltrated, though.
Well, improve it. So I mean, like I said, you got the blueprint. Improve upon it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? All this stuff has been, most of this stuff has been done before. It failed for a reason. Fix the reason why it failed. Push forward. Drive on.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. You know, the framework is there, the foundation is there for us to put things together. You know, but we do got to acknowledge the enemies in the room. There are a lot of them. You know, um, and one thing I will say that I agree with when it comes to FBA is there does need to be some delineation, you know, but it doesn't need to be delineation between, you know, black people and other black people. It needs to be delineation between people who are for the cause and people who have done sold out. That needs to be the delineation. If you done sold out, we're delineated from you. You know what I mean? You go over there with them people while we
Uh,
come over here and we do what we need to do.
a political delineation is needed as well from the alphabet community because a lot of things that benefit us are tied to them, and that's why these things get shot down.
Mm.
So, yeah, I get it.
You know,
This
I
is the
said
thing.
when Trump got elected, I said, no, not when Trump. Well, no, I said before the election, I said, the second this election is over, we need to be looking for our candidate. You know, don't wait 2 years, halfway through, you know, this 4 year term.
I agree.
Uh, you start on day one, and you start putting up people, start vetting people, and this and other, start pushing people. You know, if you find it, you know, what I'm saying, you can process elimination, and you find that person that, you know, that's going to shake stuff up, that's going to be for us, is going to be a little radical, and it's going to shake stuff up, but in a good way. You know what I'm saying? They can be for everybody, but they're not going to leave us on the side of the curb. What, you know what I'm saying, when the bus pulls off. We need
Think about it though, brother. Money talks, you know. So if we're gonna be putting politicians up there on the forefront, we're gonna have to be able to fund them. We're gonna have to be able to feed
man.
their families
We
and things like that.
we have just darn near brought Target to his knees, and that was
Yeah,
a
they
small
just
feat.
fired the CEO.
Yeah, that was a
Yeah,
small feat, man. If we could get black folk uh, to have that Montgomery bus boycott mentality, we would win the next 10 elections.
Mm.
Because they never see us coming, and by the time they figure out what's going on, they would be a permanent underclass. Because
Let me say this. Let me say
the
this.
first time they would think it's a fluke, the second time they would take this, the second time they would take notice, the third time they'd be like, all right now,
Let me
you know
say
what I'm
this.
saying?
I know that, you know, black folk in America, we got a lot. We have a lot of spending power. So if there's a, you know, if there are companies that we don't rock with, we can definitely put a hurting on them by withholding our dollar. We're really good spenders now, which is good. But what we should be focused on, in my opinion, you know, and y'all could correct me if I'm wrong, is figuring out ways to build institutions that generate, you know, not circulate our money that we're, you know, instead of being able having to spend our money with other people, build institutions so we can circulate our money. And then we can turn that circulation. See, Dr. Claude Anderson, and I know a lot of people, they reference him, but they never reference him in the right way. He talked a lot about circulating the black dollar, building institutions, and then going from there and then building up to the political part of it. Because politics without any kind of funding or money behind it, it just ain't gonna work. You know, these politicians work on money, especially in America, you know, and right or wrong, it's just kind of what's, you know, what it is, you know.
lobbying is key.
Right. These dudes work off that dollar. So, you know, we need
It would be,
institutions. So Umar
it
has
would
the
be
right idea, but he clearly the execution and all the other stuff coming along with it is just not right. You know, he had the right plan, but I guess the wrong man to do it is what it sounds like. You know.
It would be nice if you had your own land as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your own land, your own resources, you know.
Yeah, but why can't we come together and buy some land?
There's a lot of
Yeah,
billionaires in
A
America.
couple of us put together a
look,
real estate pack, buy a plot of land. Sure, we got to pay taxes on it, but we could probably put some farm animals on there in order to reduce the amount of the taxes and shoot, figure out what we're gonna do. We're gonna farm. What we gonna do? We're gonna build up some manufacturing plants. What we got to do?
Maybe
man.
that's
Start.
the best solution.
this is the thing. I think what is happening. every black person who comes out, you try to organize people. Some black people who are on YouTube or social media, if they don't agree with you, they will
Mhm.
label you as a scammer, and that will
Sell
be
'em.
very difficult for Black America to build, to organize themselves, because every organization you're going to have a different opinion, different act, and if they infiltrate you, it will be very difficult. Like, okay, I mean, I donated money to Umar Johnson before. Yes, I did. But at that time, when people were after him, telling him he didn't have a degree, he didn't have this, they took him to court, he won the case. So I think sometimes at that time there are people who are fighting him, and then they say, oh, he has a fraud thing, all those things. I mean, I think those kind of things. Even the Dr. Boise, I think they did the same thing to him. Some will disagree with him. They call him a scammer. Now I see him in Africa, doing some, YouTube live, all those stuff. I think black people need to organize. If they organize and they have to trust each other, you can't build anything if you don't trust each other. There are enough millionaires in America, among black people, but for some reason, the reason they cannot come together, they don't trust each other. And you cannot unite when there's no money backing you up. Even Pan-Africanism. Now Pan-Africanism, I mean, I'm proud to say Pan-Africanism is working. Why? Because they have a bank behind it. African Bank.
Mhm.
You can Google it. African Bank in
Yeah.
Caribbean. You see it. All Caribbeans join African Union 100%, because they give them $3 billion. They never had that money from America or Europe. Never. So because of African Bank, it's funding to drill their oil. It's funding things there. So Caribbeans, they thinking of, okay, now let's link to Africa. They are built there. Aliko Dangote, he's always there. Aliko Dangote will go there, build a terminal there, because Caribbean, their food is very expensive. They get their food supply from
Yep.
America,
Yep.
everything from America. So it's
Yep.
life is there. It's
Pan-
very expensive.
Pan-
Yep.
Yeah,
Pan-African is about rising. Pan-Africa is rising.
well, see, here's something too. You got to realize, brother. When you said that that black people don't, black Americans don't trust one another or what have you. When you pop up and you say you're going to raise money for whatever or what have you, and you say you got your legal status 501c3, blah 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 blah, and you pop up by yourself. And you say, didn't you call him a scammer? Okay, well, yeah, I'm going to call you a scammer because you said you got a 501c3 or 501c anything, and you have no board, you have no treasurer, you have no you have no people in place. All I see is you. And when I ask you about the funds and this, that, and the third, and all this other kind of stuff, you don't give me no answers. Whereas when you have a 501c3 or one of these legal entities, if I ask you about the funds, you must make your records available to anyone who asks at a drop of a dime. They're supposed to be up to date online, but yet you don't do that. That is scammer behavior. If we're talking about buying a plot of land somewhere, you buying a plot of land or whatever, you know what I'm saying? To see the thing about, I mean, I think my
Not a plot.
my personal opinion is, before you get into all of that, I think what we have to do is we have to heal our neighbor. You know what I'm saying? We have a problem that's been going on for over 200 years in the black community, in the African American community. The reason why we don't trust one another, because we're still dealing with Willie Lynch. We got the young, and the old that are jealous of the young. We got the dark that are plotting on the light. We still have problems with, you know what I'm saying, that is left over from being sold from one plantation and being afraid of being sold south. It's 2025. You can't get sold south anymore, and we got to get these people we got to get our neighbors to understand that. Because if you anytime you try to organize, try to do anything, you got other black folk that will come and and knock a hole in the bottom of your boat because they can't steer it. You know what I'm saying? So you have to. We got a lot of healing to do before we can do any of the stuff that we're talking about on here. You know what I'm saying? But because right now you be like, well, we're gonna buy a plot of land in Atlanta. I mean in Georgia. You have a bunch of brothers. How about, man? I ain't trying to be that close to Atlanta, man. What about Nevada? You know what I'm saying? You have to get everybody to agree on nothing. You'd have to take the mind frame. Well, if I build it, they'll come. But then if you ain't got a board, they're gonna call you a scammer.
Well, let me say this. I think we're getting past the part where we ask people to just donate to what we try and do. Like, I think we should turn our attention to having people invest, and become equitable partners in what it is that we're trying to do. That way everybody wins, right? And nobody's just coming out of their pocket, that sort of thing. And they have a say-so. Because when people invest, guess what? You have a say-so. If you have enough shares, typically how our business works, when you have enough shares, usually you become a board member, right? Which means that you're a part of the decision-making process when it comes to that particular business. So I think our focus needs to kind of turn away from just donating to stuff, which is nice. You could donate because that's a tax write-off, all that good stuff. But we need to start investing. Go ahead.
Yeah, as you mentioned that, I just wanted to say, I know y'all don't trust the AU very much and their whole reparations thing, but they do have, those nations are offering citizenship and investment opportunities. And again, this is a Pan-African organization that's offering opportunities to invest and citizenship opportunities for Black Americans. They're not leaving out Black Americans either. So, you mentioned investment, and I just thought I should say that. Well, go ahead, Katie.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love what you just said. And here's the thing, like, why aren't we partnering with our brothers in Africa to get raw materials, things like that, and export them here? Like, I went to there's a store over here where I live. It's like this Asian store. It's called like Nyam Dam or something like that, right? It's like a grocery store, whatever. And it's pretty much like any grocery store that you would go to, like a Kroger or Winn-Dixie or whatever, But when I started looking at all the stuff that they had in the store, it was a bunch of stuff that was exported from China, and Vietnam, and they export all the stuff in order to fund, in order to stock the grocery store, right? So I'm just like, dang, why can't we do this with Africa? Why can't we get raw coffee beans from Africa and package it and ship it or export it over here, or export whatever, we sell to everybody. We buy from each other and then sell to everybody. That's how you do a business. But
I think the answer to that is Africa's so valuable. It would take literally the finances of a nation for us to make that imprint. You got to realize if we're gonna hold on, hear what I'm saying, right? These African leaders are making deals with multinational corporations, and
I'm not talking gold or nothing like that, because that's a whole nother conversation. I'm not talking about uranium or nothing like that. That's a whole nother scale of conversation.
I get that.
What I'm talking about is stuff like regular stuff, man.
Coffee.
There's a lot of stuff that we use over here that grows naturally in Africa that all we need to do is export it.
Yeah, I said, turning cocoa to chocolate before exporting it, instead of exporting the cocoa beans, he's talking about making it into like cocoa powder before export. You like finished product. That's when you get value for money.
I'm saying now you have to compete with Nestle, and Nestle has a war chest that is going to be difficult to compete with unless the continent decides.
If you keep thinking everything is difficult, you're not going to do anything, because. What Nestle? There's no Nestle in Ghana. We're the largest cocoa producer. What Nestle are you talking about? If we get a bunch of billionaires in Ghana promoting our farmers in the cocoa farms, even you buying a few acres of farm, put some plant a lot of cocoa trees on it, and then process your cocoa into what? Chocolate, export it to America. Who's stopping you?
What's Nestle going to
that
do?
would be my question to you. What is stopping Africa from doing that now?
Africa, we're starting to do it now. That's my point. We're starting to do that now, but it's not bad if you also join in, make it bigger.
Also, the expertise, the know-how, the investment
Yeah, the
funds.
know-how.
These are some of the
bring
things.
all that. Yeah,
Processing plants. We could get See, a lot of they have a lot of raw materials over there, but they don't have the processing plants, like what the brother just said. Processing the
finished
cocoa
products,
into powder and things like that. Like,
Now let's put a pin in that. I think the only way that could be accomplished would be in terms of making it African descendants of Africa thing. Africa has to have a concerted plan and reach out to Black Americans, say, here, we're going to open up the door for you and make it easy for you to help us and also help yourself. Right? But
I think a lot of
as
them
of
have
now,
kind of done that, though. A lot of them
they're
have
doing that.
already kind of done that already. Not
I wish I
fully.
can show you some YouTube videos. They're already doing that. There's a lot of Americans already there doing that.
but when we talk about that, we're talking about on a small individual level. I'm
Nah, that's
saying,
what you're thinking. It's not small individual level, bro. I'm telling you,
well,
bro.
so what Americans are you saying are going back to Africa?
All right. So what's this guy's name? I forgot his name. He's making vodka and all that kind of strong drinks. Forgot his name.
Yeah,
There's an
bro, that's
See
American
what I'm saying?
African.
If there were
bro,
a
that's
plethora,
individual. Bro, that's
if there were a
individual
plethora
thing.
of different individuals doing it, it would be a
Yeah.
lot easier to just name.
Okay. But I mean, what I was talking about, Affliction Bank is coming to America. I'm gonna play you one video. They are in Miami. These are institutions. It's a branch of a Pan-African. It's on the African Union. The bank is called Affliction Bank. You can search it. You can search Affliction Bank and Caribbean. You will see. So even three weeks ago, they had a conference in Grenada. So Black America is part of it. But I saw a woman who is a trade promoter. They're recruiting people in America, Black Americans in Miami. Maybe if I find the video, I will play it
But
here.
isn't their main currency the franc?
Huh?
Isn't their main currency the franc?
What do you mean, men called Frank?
He's saying the currency, the money.
Well, they got
They're
No.
rid
still
of franc.
using French money.
They just got rid of it. That's what.
Okay. Okay. Listen. Okay. The this African bank, Africans will trade in their own currency. I gotta play this video. You guys need to listen so you guys. Everything can be clear to you. It's a clear view. So you have to follow this thing to get information. If not, we gonna be talking every day, but
Talking and
nothing will be
talking, yeah.
clear. I see even most Africans don't even know this exists because they are in TikTok, all those things, but they don't.
What are you
You don't
talking
get
about? Exim Bank.
African Bank.
Oh, African. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They're giving out a lot of loans.
Okay. You guys need to listen here.
So that the issues that nobody dreamed about bringing to the fore can now take frame of
We can't hear it.
We can't hear you, bro.
Hey, so I got a question, y'all.
When the problem is exposed, then they need to solve.
We can't hear that.
The continent, the region. I recall it was Dangote who said, let us start doing the business and the maritime links will come. There are others who are anxious to see the supply put in place and that the demand will follow. But I think we need to do it in partnership, and these partnerships would include public and private sector, and partnerships, of course, between businesses in the continent and in the region. So why should we do this? Right? It's because, as Oki just pointed out, the volume of trade between the region and the continent is extremely. I think the figures that the ITC had put out is somewhere in the region of CARICOM trade of Africa 2.6% overall. And the ICC had indicated that there's a potential.
That perspective from the private sector. I now want to turn to the public sector in the Central Bank Governor, Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe Governor. From your vantage point, what role can central banks play in investment between Africa and the Caribbean?
We having a hard time hearing you.
Hey, so
Is that Corsi speaking?
no, he's playing a
Who
video.
is that we can't hear?
Can you guys hear or you guys don't hear?
We don't hear.
We can't hear nothing.
Oh.
Hey, so I got a question.
I think for us to de-risk.
So you guys still cannot hear nothing?
No, we couldn't hear
No,
anything.
it's no good. You're gonna have to mute out real quick, Elijah.
Okay.
All right. You know, it's getting to be close to that time. So you know, I'm gonna get ready to wrap it up and shut this down. So we're gonna say our last words. I'll start with Dex, who just fell out.
Hey, American Dream, one thing about you I could say is that promptly at 3 hours, you be shutting it down.
Yeah, man. You know, sometimes I'll be thinking I can go past that, but man, my body just be like, bro, it's time to reshift and do something.
I get it.
But yeah, so let's say our final words. Let's, you know what I mean, but let's keep it to the African Union and Pan-Africanism, because I think Pan-Africanism gets a really it's just getting a bad name if we equate it with Dr. Umar and just the local any local grassroots Pan-Africanism movement that's out there. I think what's going on with the AU and their CARICOM, you know, working with CARICOM and their Pan-African movement, I think there's something there that's lacking, or that you know, the grassroots Pan-African movements are not able to create. And I think it's you know, it's a shame that when we talk about Pan-Africanism, we're not talking about it on that level, whether it be, and you know, even if it's okay, we're not talking about it on the AU because we don't trust the AU. Maybe we can talk about whatever type of Pan-Africanism the Sahel states are talking about. But I wish our talk of and when we judge Pan-Africanism, that's the level that we're judging it on. And I think if we look at just reparations, I think what they have in mind with reparations is very interesting and in my view a lot more interesting than the grassroots view of reparations. So I just think that, you know, there's so much bigger to Pan-Africanism and what it could be than what it's being and what it's being judged as, I think. And so I think those should probably be my last words. So we're gonna go in just any old random order. Corsi, let's have your last words, please.
My last word is once Africa becomes great by following the AES model, this AES model, I think it's going to spread to other countries. And then once Africa becomes very powerful, I think the West will have no choice but to respect all Black people around the world. It's just Africa needs to rise first. And yeah, that's what I just think. Once we rise, the rest will join. Yeah.
Indeed. Thank you very much for coming on, Corsi. Appreciate you.
No
Elijah, what are your final words?
Yeah, I think Pan-Africanism, to me, it doesn't have a bad name. I mean, there are people who don't know what is the Pan-Africanism mean, what is the ideology stand for. So those are the ones they just say they think Pan-Africanism is a personal thing. If I'm bad, if I'm a Muslim or Christian, whatever I do, that doesn't represent the Christianity. If I go and poop on the street, does that mean that represent the Christianity? No. So people need to understand this. So I mean, me personally, Umar Johnson, I mean, he might do certain things, but one thing I know, he's not selling black people. He's not selling people out. He's a spokesperson. His voice, mobilize people. Yes, I mean, I think to me, this is my opinion. I think the the fundraising he had, I don't think he has that much response compared to Tariq Nasir, the money he received. Most Black Americans they value celebrity. If celebrity call for donation, everybody is going to put it there. So Umar Johnson, his name was tarnished long before he even started Pan-Africanism. When he was doing conscious things, they call him a scammer. He don't have a degree. He doesn't have a degree, doctor. So I mean, he will find it so difficult to even get a donation because I believe by now we should know people who are most popular people. They should come out and say, "Hey, Umar, I give you 100 grand." But there are many millionaires in black community. But those millionaires, I don't think they put money to it. He got a school, but he couldn't build it. It's not because of he doesn't want to build it. He doesn't have the money. Yes, I mean he has to live. I mean, if you're doing activities, you live on that thing. If you have a 501c, even these NGOs, they live from the NGO money. Okay, but if he has enough money by now, the school will be there. I believe. I mean, I don't bash him though. Me personally, I don't bash him. I still
All right,
believe.
that's
Yeah,
where are you from, Elijah?
I'm Malian.
Mali. All right,
Yeah.
blessings to you in Mali. How's the weather in Mali?
It's hard.
Hot. Mali is
Yeah,
hot.
yeah,
All right. All right. So thanks for coming in, Elijah. Please hit that like button, subscribe, and notification bell.
yeah.
And you know what I mean? We'll see you
How
again.
often? How often do you go live?
Man, it depends on my vibe. That's why it's important to just hit that notification bell so that you won't
Yeah.
miss it. Because I can't really promise how often I'm on, but you know.
Okay.
I'll be on often this week because I have a little break. So, I'm planning on going pretty often this week because I have some things on my mind that I want to get out. And so, but again, hit the notification bell because I'm going to be live again soon.
Send our regards to the Honorable Assimi Goita from us Black Americans here. Send our regards, man. Much respect and love
Yeah,
to
man.
Mali.
Yeah.
All right, Elijah. Thanks for coming up. Blessings to you. Terrence Bailey Sr. Your final thoughts.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you having me on. I was just thinking. I brought this up to someone else before. Matter of fact, I brought it up to the ambassador of Togo and Benin, Ambassador Frederick Higby, and I asked him. I said, because he's a Pan-Africanist, and I asked him. I said, how come your country doesn't recruit black African American and Caribbean uh, scientists, military generals and officers, uh, doctors and stuff like that. Kind of like how the United States did after World War II. They brought in the top scientists from Germany and stuff like that. I think that in order to get the resources that we need black folk in all the right places. And I think strengthening Africa to put Africa on level playing field gives us more power. You see that they got the Asian hate bill because China and the Asian countries are a great they trade. They do great trade with them or whatever, but not so. But in Africa, there's nobody over there that can say anything about the abuse that we deal with in the United States as black folk or whatever and be taken seriously. We have to help ourselves until we help as black folk globally. Until we help ourselves, we're going to be on this revolving wheel. Those are my words.
Indeed. Thank you for those kind words, Terrence. Hope to see you again, good brother. Blessings to you. KD, let's get your last words.
I'm muted. I was talking for a little minute. I was muted. I just want to say, any of the brothers that was on here that got YouTube channels and stuff like that, man, if y'all send American Dream, is it okay if they put it in the chat if they got like a YouTube or something like that? I just want to support the brothers, and clearly we all on the same page with a lot of things, so we definitely need to connect.
Yeah, people
Are
can
you all
post
right with that?
anything they want to post. Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, all right, please. So anybody was up here, man, and you rocking with what we was talking about, just put your YouTube channel or whatever, or Instagram, whatever, in the contact, so we can kind of keep in touch. But yeah, as far as Pan-Africanism is concerned, man, I think Pan-Africanism is the only way right now for Black people. We need to work with each other. We ain't all got to like each other, but we need to work with each other. We need to delineate from people who rather stay colonized. Those of us who are looking to be sovereign and free, and and build, need to go our way, and the people who are looking to stay tethered to the colonizers, they need to go their way. You know what I mean? So yeah, Pan-Africanism is the only way forward. As far as reparations are concerned, I know this is going to be a little controversial. I really feel like reparations is the carrot on the stick thing. I don't think anyone's going to give us reparations. I think the only way that we get any kind of reparations is to seize it for ourselves, and that doesn't have to be by force, but economically, politically is how we get reparations, and we get our own form of reparations, not the form of reparations that they deem that we should get. So I'm gonna go ahead and land there. I know American Dream trying to get up on out of here, so I'm gonna land right there, man. But peace to everybody on the panel, everybody who's in the chat. Love all y'all, man.
Peace, family.
Yeah, man. Blessings, KD. Always a pleasure, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. Wall Street, your final thoughts.
So I'm going to start first by giving you the praise you deserve. There's a level of decorum on this platform in a time where, things in the Black community can be so, pretentious. Like this is a great space that I definitely look forward to supporting and building a network of brothers in. You've created, a very respectful panel and platform, and I salute you for that. I would also say with regard to Pan-Africanism, it doesn't make me happy to say this, but we are in a time when Pan-Africanism is somewhat on life support. And so we have to be conscious of that, and also, not complicate things. When it comes to the tenets of Pan-Africanism, there's many different beliefs, but fundamentally there's two main pillars. One is working together as people of the continent and the diaspora for the benefit of us all, and the other is separating ourselves from the current establishment, which is based in white supremacy and colonialism. So that is where I kind of deviate from what I know of the AU. But when I do look at AES, when I look at what Traore and those brothers out there are doing, it gives me a lot of hope. As an American who wants to invest in his people and build with his people, when I look at the continent, it's two main things that I want to see. I want to see pride, and I want to see stability. When you can show the world stability, they'll come, they'll invest. And that includes your Black brothers here in America. So that needs to be the goal over there. We have our issues here we need to work on as well, but I think it needs to be a race to control, to influence in the Black community. And I think that should be decided by the fruits of your labor, your work. What are you doing? What have you created? And that should determine, who's in play, who we're listening to, who we support and stand behind. So I'll definitely be back. Salute, brother. Get the rest you deserve. And peace to all the brothers on the panel, man. My new family.
Oh man, awesome. Thanks for the kind words, Wall
Yes, sir.
Street. And a pleasure to have you as part of the family.
I'm gonna let you
Blessings to you,
close out,
sir.
bro. But to everyone, that like button and that notification bell works. That's how I got here today. So peace, family. I'll definitely be back.
Yes, sir. One love.
One love.
Yeah, man. Aye, peoples. For y'all in the chat, you know what your final thoughts should always be. Hitting that like button and all them other buttons, man. Let's go. Let's get it done. I do plan on coming back soon. I may come back tomorrow at some point in the day, depending on how it's going, how my day is going. I may sign on early. But again, it just depends on how everything is flowing for me. But I do want to come on again because I have more of this reading that I wanna get done. I think I'm a little bit fascinated with this stuff right now. So hit the notification bell, so you know what I mean, so that you see when we go live. I want to do a little bit of reading first, get a little bit of reading done, and then, invite people up once again to have these great bills. I think these bills are decent bills, man. I'm not mad at all. So hope to see y'all again. Once again, hit that like button. Hope to see y'all around tomorrow or whenever again we go live. So hit that like button and all that. And then, you know what I mean? We gonna catch you on the next one, y'all. Bless yourselves.
I want you to listen very, very carefully.
It's all about life in the street. People are suffer, try survive in the heat. Bad mind them up to one hygiene a do it. That's why enough of them, rifle a beat. Everybody want big ups and want to drive in a Jeep. Every day I'm at the ball when she bike in a read. Not even 5 days, we can't find for the week. Me no see no changes, the same cycle repeat. Give thanks cause life it's a sweet. But keep an eye open every time you go slave. Cause mankind jealous and them idle worry. Them never yet plant and not try figure it. Bigger heads where you fight for the sake. Now care about the future nor the child where you creep. Them a pray the fat Kyle was submit. The system will slide where you fit.
In the streets so we born and grow. Only Jah know and nobody know.
When we talk about ghetto life, talk about ghetto life.
Everybody a priest and them want it though. That's why them a speed and they pan the go.
Cause this a real ghetto life. This a real ghetto life. Yeah. Everybody just a pre-success. When me looking at the street, you me see enough stress. Them all a fight for who reach up next. Everybody want floss and a beat up chest. Juvenile in a them teen love sex. Them a breed the fast money, them no need subjects. And if you're unfortunate, please don't vex. Also the things said cause the streets don't rest.
In the streets so we born and grow. Only Jah know and nobody know.
When we talk about ghetto life, talk about ghetto life.
Everybody a priest and them want it though. That's why them a speed and they pan the go.
Cause this a real ghetto life. This a real ghetto life. Yeah. It's all about life in the street. People are suffer, try survive in the heat. Bad mind them up to one hygiene a do it. That's why enough of them, rifle a beat. Everybody want big ups and want to drive in a Jeep. Every day I'm at the ball when she bike in a read. Not even 5 wheels, we can't find for the week. Me no see no changes, the same cycle repeat. Give thanks cause life it's a sweet. But keep an eye open every time you go slave. Cause mankind jealous and them idle worry. Them never yet plant and not try figure it. Bigger heads where you fight for the sake. Now care about the future nor the child where you creep. Them a pray the fat Kyle was submit. The system will slide where you fit.
In the streets so we born and grow. Only Jah know and nobody know.
When we talk about ghetto life, talk about ghetto life.
Everybody a priest and them want it though. That's why them a speed and they pan the go.
Cause this a real ghetto life. This a real ghetto life. Yeah.
you to listen very, very carefully.
Tell the youth them to be strong. You can't tell the youth them to preach wrongs. While you try it on these lands, just remember every man is equal. Yeah. Each one teach one, and a father God him a the only done. So make we ease and reason, smoke trees, span the ends, all the deep meds. Take a look at life and don't close your eyes. Sometimes things happen and it's no surprise. And I just so it go, so it go, so it go, so it go. It's the government no have no heart, them no care about poor people. Yeah, bigger heads no love people again. Them more than little of them. We see friends now reason again. Vex through whistle a blame. More time it hurt me if you see how the face. Deal with the eagle of them. Regular me see it's a pain. Regular me see it's a pain. It's a pain.
I want you to listen very, very carefully.
Tell the youth them to be strong. You can't tell the youth them to preach wrongs. While you try it on these lands, just remember every man is equal. Yeah. Each one teach one, and a father God him a the only done. So make we ease and reason, smoke trees, span the ends, all the deep meds. Take a look at life and don't close your eyes. Sometimes things happen and it's no surprise. And I just so it go, so it go, so it go, so it go. It's the government no have no heart, them no care about poor people. Yeah, bigger heads no love people again. Them more than little of them. We see friends now reason again. Vex through whistle a blame. More time it hurt me if you see how the face. Deal with the eagle of them. Regular me see it's a pain. Regular me see it's a pain. It's a pain. Take a look at life and don't close your eyes. Sometimes things happen and it's no surprise. And I just so it go, so it go, so it go, so it go. It's the government no have no heart, them no care about poor people. Social commentary. Drop the one, your principle, you don't know. The global will come and do it. Some people life every day, it's stress. The high price from JPS, that topic is currently. Jah alone, him a go help me. We need food, but we no healthy. We are feel the pain, beg you protect me. In a life, we have no fanfare. Take a look at life, and don't close your eyes. Sometimes things happen, and it's no surprise. And I just so it go, so it go, so it go, so it go. It's the government no have no heart, them no care about poor people.
Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Speak of righteousness, they say we are praise. Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Speak of righteousness, they say we are praise. Brought us from the motherland in bondage and chains. Bury our culture and change our names. They claim we're free, yet we are in pain. As long as there's life, there's a lot to gain. Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Speak of righteousness, they say we are praise. Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Righteousness, they say we are praise. When Garvey spoke his words, they said he was deranged. Marley sung his songs, they said the same. Malcolm X and Martin Luther fought relentlessly so we could be better. Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Speak of righteousness, they say we are praise. Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Speak of righteousness, they say we are praise. Brought us from the motherland in bondage and chains. Bury our culture and change our names. They claim we're free, yet we are in pain. As long as there's life, there's a lot to gain. Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Speak of righteousness, they say we are praise. Just because we're black, they say we are slaves.
I want you to listen very, very carefully.
Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Speak of righteousness, they say we are praise. Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Speak of righteousness, they say we are praise.
I want you to listen very, very carefully.
Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Speak of righteousness, they say we are praise. Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Speak of righteousness, they say we are praise. Brought us from the motherland in bondage and chains. Bury our culture and change our names. They claim we're free, yet we are in pain. As long as there's life, there's a lot to gain. Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Speak of righteousness, they say we are praise. Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Righteousness, they say we are praise. When Garvey spoke his words, they said he was deranged. Marley sung his songs, they said the same. Malcolm X and Martin Luther fought relentlessly so we could be better. Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Righteousness, they say we are praise. Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Speak of righteousness, they say we are praise. Brought us from the motherland in bondage and chains. Bury our culture and change our names. They claim we're free, yet we are in pain. As long as there's life, there's a lot to gain. Just because we're black, they say